Mr. Primetime. It is 5 o'clock on a Sunday, week 1, Jets, Bills. I know you're excited to be here, and I'm just going to add a comment. There you go. Our first comment.
Just end the season. That is correct. New year, same story. I thought it could be bad. I did not think it was going to be that bad, dude.
I mean, where do we begin here? I mean, there are so many alarming things that come out of this game, and I'll preface this by saying, listen, we went into this game understanding that there is a lot of moving parts, a lot of new pieces, that there's going to be rusty. You expect some sloppy play. You expect some things to happen. The offensive line has to gel, all these different things. But what we saw today is fucking alarming because of the fact that some of the things we saw today is the same thing we saw last year, and it was on offense. Like let's be honest. Like, I'm a Sam Darnold fan. He played like shit today. He didn't get any help. The receivers were dropping passes. The receivers weren't getting open. The play calling was abysmal. Time management, game management was ridiculous. Like, there's so many things you walk away from this and you're just like, what did we just watch? Like, dude, you're a quarter into this game, and I have last year anger already raging through my body.
The thing that bothers me the most is that you had so many weeks to prepare for this game. So after the first quarter, what were the yards? 123-23. We didn't have a game plan. We were 3 and out, run, pass. I mean, the first drive was okay. You took the deep shot to Herndon. It didn't work out all right. But, I mean, what did we try to do after that? It was bubble screens, 3-yard outs. It was more of the same shit from last year. And I'm sorry, I know you're going to give the defense a pass. I'm not.
I'm not giving nobody a pass. Nobody a pass.
Well, listen, I know you want to blame the offense more than the defense, but both sides of the ball are complete shit right now equally. Because
dude, this is the same thing. The defense is the same thing as last year.
Exactly.
How many times did you watch the defense start off slow?
Once the Bills had 20 points, they took their foot off the gas because they knew they didn't need to score more than that. They knew our offense wasn't going to do anything.
Well, not even that. Josh Allen's fumbling the ball. They're missing field goals. The Bills did everything in there.
I mean, we couldn't even take advantage of that.
Dude, if we're being completely honest, the game should have been 35-0 at one point.
Yeah.
But the Bills were a little rusty, made some mistakes themselves. I'm not giving the defense a pass. I mean, they're playing their zone coverage was so fucking soft. Pierre Desir could have sat in a fucking bench and did nothing. Like, I'm glad he was benched. It was horrible. But I'm like, their defense was so soft. But now the only thing I'll say is this. The arm tackling and the poor tackling, that I expected. Because I'm like, listen, you know what? They didn't have a training camp. There's no preseason. Like that, so that I give a pass to a certain point. To a certain point. But dude, then you're like, they're missing. They could have sacked Josh Allen 3 fucking times, and they didn't wrap him up.
The run defense was still the strength of your defense last year, and you were bringing back 9 starters from last year. So at the very least, you thought, okay, we'd be able to contain Josh Allen in the RPO and force him to throw the ball. But yet, when he threw the ball, you had your cornerbacks and DBs 10 yards off the line. You couldn't have made it any easier for him. Dude.
There you go. This is a great comment, dude. You guys being so negative. We have a punter. Listen, he averaged he averaged 46 yards a punt. So wait, and I got to start reading the question. So the comment was, there you guys being so negative again. You should be more positive like me. We have a legit punter. And that is true.
Yeah, also, we have a punter. We have Marcus May, Bless Austin, Harvey Lange played well. Other than that, what the fuck do we have?
Yeah, I mean, you look at the offense, dude, and there's the drop. And Sam was erratic, man. There was guys open that he was missing. Then when he did throw the ball, they dropped it. The play calling was weird. It was like they were all out of sync in so many ways. His footwork and his fundamentals look like shit, dude. And then he took that sack when he was running out, like throw the ball away. This is stuff we wanted to see him improve from last year, and he didn't do that. Today
was the first time that I'm legitimately worried about Sam Darnold going forward. Because in year 1, towards the end, that was when Sam Darnold was playing his best football under Jeremy Bates down the stretch those last 4 weeks. And we have not seen that Sam Darnold since then. He's had flashes, he's had moments. But today, like you said, the not throwing the ball away, taking that sack, that's a rookie mistake. Throwing the ball up when he was running the opposite way for the interception, that's a rookie mistake. And I get it. He's trying to do a little bit too much because, again, we had the ball for 19 minutes today. So part of me understands it. And at the same time, you don't have the receivers, that are getting separation to make these plays. So when a guy's there, I get it. He's pressing a little bit, but it's still no excuse. He's got to be better than this. And Gase has to set him up better. So
yeah, I mean, you're entering. I'm legitimately pissed off today. I'm not gonna lie. So you guys want to fuck with me in the messages? Go right ahead. I'm gonna come right back at you. I really don't care. I'm legitimately pissed off because you're entering a season where there's already a narrative about the coach and the quarterback, like make or break year for Sam. He's got to show us all this stuff. And I'm in the same boat where I'm like, damn, like there's some alarming things here that we thought were going to slowly but surely get fixed. Only 1 game, so I'll give him that. Footwork, technique, game management, situational awareness, all mistakes. Errant throws, bad throws. That's a problem. And here's the other problem. already starting to shit with Adam Gase in the press conference. That's why I like to start this a little bit later, because I want to hear what the head coach has to say, where he's like, well, we had guys open. We didn't make the play. We didn't do this. He's already throwing Sam under the bus. Like, why don't you as a head coach be a goddamn man and say, you know what? My offense wasn't good. I got to help my quarterback more. Put it on you. As a head coach, be a leader. Don't blame your third-year quarterback. Take ownership and accountability for yourself. Defer it, because you know what the media is going to do? They're going to feed off that. And now here comes all the shit surrounding Sam Darnold. Is he the quarterback? Is he not? What should the Jets do? It's all going to start, dude. And it's going to start much sooner rather than later, and that's a problem. Now, granted, Sam could have played better and offset half of this, but now that he didn't, Gase has no problem burying him, dude. He don't care.
How many times do we have to listen to a post-game where Gase says, I got to go back and watch the film? Take some ownership of what the fuck is going on. How about that delay of game penalty after a timeout? What? Exactly.
What are you doing?
I mean, those are things that should not get past him as the head coach. You should be calling the plays. You should know the personnel that should be out there. You have 2 minutes to look it over. So somebody fucked up. And as the head coach, that is your responsibility.
It's game management, dude. This is like fundamental time management.
And time management. How about playing for a fucking field goal when you're down 21-0?
I was getting to that.
This is Todd Bowles, dude. This is
But no. The best thing about this is, because that dude, I had to keep notes for this game because I was so pissed. I was drinking beer. I'm like, I'm pissed, right? I'm like, then Gase. They asked Gase about this, great, and so Quinnen Williams disappeared again. Well, accepted a roughing passer penalty, which was a huge penalty, and Quinnen Williams didn't play well. Everybody around him played well, but Quinnen didn't play well. They asked Gase about that play call right before the half. Only the New York Jets played for field goals. We're getting our doors blown off 21-0. He said, I called the right play. The ball wasn't thrown where I was supposed to go. Again, he blames his quarterback. It's never Gase's fault. It's always Darnold's fault. But the same shit happened last year where they're getting blown out. He's never aggressive. He goes for these field goals or he plays conservative. But that play call blew my mind, dude.
But according to Gase, this is night and day from last year. Direct quote from him.
We suck differently.
It's night and day from last year, the way that we lost. No, it wasn't. This is the same exact shit that we saw last year on both sides of the goddamn ball. Same exact thing.
Dude, and you know what the best thing was? The best thing was the broadcast said it. Don't throw the ball over the middle of the field because you're going to settle for a field goal. What do? Middle of the fucking field.
And why did he waste the timeout with 43 seconds, his last timeout, when they were at the 40-yard line? You save that one for when you need the field goal if you get stopped like that. Yeah, dude, none of this made any sense.
Now, I said this last year. The same shit we ran Todd Bowles out of town for. Keep in mind, Todd Bowles got more out of Sam Darnold than Adam Gase is getting. That's the thing. The same poor time management, weird play calling, all this other shit. It's what we got Todd Bowles out of here for. And Adam Gase is actually worse. Like, you can make a case that Darnold's going backwards. This offense is going backwards. And then it's like, well, the Buffalo defense is so good. I mean, yeah, they're okay. They're good. They have players. They were dropping like flies, too. They were getting hurt, too.
Yep.
But the fundamental football we can't even get right. Like, dude, there was a point in this game where they couldn't even complete a fucking pass. Like, Darnold's mailing balls all over the place. Like, they were just like, this was all like completing a pass is like a miracle. And you take away that Crowder touchdown and look at these numbers.
That's half their offense.
That's it. It's like that makes them feel a little bit better. Like, it's almost like the numbers get skewed a little bit because they got back in the game. Herndon fumbled, which was terrible. He was invisible the whole game. Like, the whole guy's kind of a breakout year. But you take away that Crowder touchdown, dude, these numbers look even worse.
The last 4 weeks of 2018, throwing to, Jermaine Kearse and a rookie, Chris Herndon and Robbie Anderson, that was Sam Darnold's best stretch under Jeremy Bates and Todd Bowles. And you fire them and you bring in an offensive-minded head coach. The expectation should be that he's going to elevate your young quarterback, regardless of what's around him, right? This is supposed to be an improved offensive line. You saw a little bit of improvement, still a lot of mistakes there. You get it. It's probably going to take some time to gel. But Adam Gase needs to set these guys up better. There's nothing that he's doing to elevate anything that's here as far as play calling or anything.
No, and then we said, listen, the play calling, we know what it has to be. Simplify a little bit, run the ball, quick passing game, do all these things. They didn't do any of that, dude. Like that same screen pass, there was nothing innovative, nothing new. And you watch the Bills are doing end arounds, run pass option, doing all these different things. Second
drive of the game, 3rd and 9. Who the fuck are you kidding with a screen pass to Chris Hogan? Who is he making miss on that play to get a first down?
How many times we see that last year?
But we're losing different.
Dude, the play. I mean, there's so many things that make you crazy that you're just like, wow. And then you hear them justify it and try to explain it. Like, you're not explaining it. And now having Bell hurt, now you're like, what are we going to do here? You're going to see Frank Gore carry the ball 25 times a game, and then on defense, and it's like, you try to keep in mind who the opponent was. Like, the Bills, arguably the best team in the division, even though the Patriots won today. Okay, they're going to be good. Have a lot of continuity. They brought 70% back to their roster, all these different things. But you want to see – they weren't competitive today, man. Like, they got so lucky that Buffalo made some mistakes because the game could have been over the second quarter. Like, big, like 35-0, like bringing your backups. Like, we're getting blown out of the building here. We're not even showing up. We're not even competitive. Marcus May had a phenomenal game. Bless Austin did really well. Lange, Becton got beat for the one sack. That's because nobody was open. And it was funny because you listen to the broadcaster, and this is where it was funny. Like, Sam had nobody to throw to because you have average receivers. What do you expect? Like, this is when you don't have game-breaking talent around you or elite-level receivers or good receivers around you, and they don't get open. Guess what happens? The quarterback either gets sacked or he starts forcing things, which is what happened today. Or you got to be an innovative play caller, which we don't have. So you have a medley of shit, and this is what happens. And then you get a glimmer of hope with the Crowder touchdown, and then you start buying into it. Like, maybe we can do it. The Bills start melting because they're choke artists, and they're like, all right, cool. Then Herndon fumbles. It's like, dude,
everything that could have went wrong today.
What a disaster, man.
And I hate to put it all on Sam, and I'm not putting it all on Sam because obviously, the receivers are what they are. We know that, but again, Adam Gase is just not doing enough to put him in position to succeed. And, the receivers, when they do get separation, there's so much pressure on him to make those throws because it doesn't happen often. So I get it where he's trying to do too much. It doesn't excuse the mistakes, but I get why he's trying to do too much, especially when he only has the ball for 18 minutes a game. What do you expect him to do?
And that's the big problem. Your defense is going to get tired, and your offense starts pressing. And TJ has a great point. Allen could have taken a nap back there. Yep. There was times where Josh Allen was flat-footed in the backfield, just standing here.
Yep.
Just scanning the field looking for somebody. Like, all right, where do I throw the ball to? I'm like, what are we doing? Like this is when you don't – whatever. You don't address pass rusher and you don't have the guy to get to the quarterback. That's what happens. They start picking apart, and he gets 300 yards passing for the first time in his life. Just like –
can't make it up,
it's a good point, man. It's like when you don't have a pass rusher, and now your number one corner, supposedly, Pierre Desir, is either still hurting or not in shape, whatever else. He gets benched. That's your prize cornerback signing.
And that's why I still say Jamal Adams was covering up a lot of holes on this defense, keeping them, in games last year. And now it's like, who's your big star? Marcus May is trying to take over that role. He had some numbers today, played a phenomenal game. But now you take him away from what he did well as your deep safety, and you're struggling in coverage. And Allen's putting up 300 yards.
Did Ashton Davis even play?
I don't think so. I didn't see him out there except for the one fucking kick return where he got fucking
jumped up in the air for no reason.
Jesus Christ, yeah. So you got that. Dude.
That is the point from Andrew. Even with low expectations going into the game, it was still surprising how bad it actually was. Yep. Game management, clock management, horrible again. Dead right. Andrew is dead right, dude. Like, this is and the thing is, this is not a rookie coach. Like, we saw this this is a veteran coach that's supposed to be an experienced in the AFC East, learned his lessons in Miami, learned all this shit, innovative where football's going. The same thing we saw last year, the same thing we saw today. Game management and time management is awful, dude. Like, he doesn't have a winning mindset. And then at the end of the game, dude, he quits. Nothing fucking pisses me off more in the end of the game when he mails it in. Like, why does he do that? Like, why do you concede loss? Like, dude, you keep just trying, dude. Keep throwing the ball. Act like you're still in the game because you know what? It's a first game of the season. Get experience. Have Sam that atmosphere. Okay, listen, you know what? We're going to lose this game, but we haven't had a preseason game. We're going to use this time to learn and just get something out of it instead of just quitting. That's just ridiculous. He did it last year too, man. Like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's run the clock out. Why? Like, that's a loser mentality for a loser fucking coach. I'm pissed, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I hate losing like this. I'd rather lose.
I have no rebuttal to that, dude. I have no rebuttal.
Like, it's like I'd rather I want to see a competitive game where you're into it. Like, first game of the season, okay, you get your doors blown off in embarrassing fashion. Where in the first quarter, everybody's like, like prominent analysts are saying, dude, fire this coach. What are you doing? Like, that's what we're walking into the first game of the season. It's ridiculous.
Doing everything you can to set your quarterback up for failure,
dude. And this is a great point by Grant. By the second, third and out, Joe should have fired Gase. But you know what, dude? You saw the pattern: run, third and long pass. Yep. And I'm like, I've seen this before, and this is not going to work for us because we know what they're going to do. And the Buffalo Bills defense knew it was coming. They jumped. They're jumping routes. They knew what kind of pass we were going to throw.
But
oh man!
But again, another quote from Adam Gase is that Buffalo didn't show them anything that they didn't expect. So then what were we doing in practice the last few weeks? If they showed you everything that you were expecting, why weren't you ready for it?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. And that's what I'm talking about where he doesn't take any kind of – we got so many comments to the guys trying to keep up. But, dude, that's the whole part with Adam Gase. He says, nothing surprised us. the plays seemed to be all right. They weren't getting the right reads. Like everything always seemed to point back to Sam. Yeah. The passing game didn't get going. It's a passing league, man. Like, and your running game didn't get going either.
Nope.
So you look at the
5 carries for 9 yards for Le'Veon Bell by the half before he got hurt. I mean, that's all we can muster in a game that we knew we needed to ground and pound. If we were going to control the clock and keep the Bills' offense on the sidelines and have a chance to, be in it in the fourth quarter, that was what we needed to do, ground and pound. And Le'Veon Bell has 9 yards at the half.
We'll start answering a lot of these comments because I know I'm really behind. I'm getting used to all this software, and we want to thank everybody for joining us. You know what I'm really tired of, dude? Fucking excuses. Like, stop making goddamn excuses. So at some point, you got to make changes and adjustments. Now, I give Greg Williams credit because he made adjustments, dude. The defense was getting torched. They find a way to kind of linger around. The Bills helped them out a lot with their turnovers and missed kicks. That's fine. And James Lofton, dude, Jesus Christ, man. Can you be any more biased with a fucking broadcaster? Why don't you just cheer for the fucking Bills in the broadcast? It's ridiculous.
Well, dude, I mean,
it's ridiculous, dude. Like, come on, man. At least
the turnovers, you had the missed kicks, you had the one play where Allen overthrew the guy who was wide open without anybody 10 yards within him in the end zone. I mean, the Bills easily should have put 40 points in this game. I mean, if they had to, I think they could have. And that's what bothers me the most about the defense is that even if we made some plays on offense, this defense is not stopping anybody in a crucial moment to win a game. And that's something I've said for weeks. And if this is what we're going to do against Josh Allen and the Bills, what are we going to do next week against the Niners? What's that going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. I don't like excuses. I don't like the direction this team is heading with the offense. It's not encouraging. Now, they played a good opponent, but next week's being no different, and they have a lot more explosive players like on defense, like the Boses and everybody else. That's scary. And I think my biggest takeaway from this, other than the alarming fact that Adam Gase is just a buffoon and will never hold himself accountable and is a legitimate concern, is the concern surrounding Sam Darnold now. I'm walking, and I'll say it over and over, I'm a fan of him, dude. Yep. But there's things today that I saw that I was hoping were going to go away, and they're back. And these are things that separate you. And listen, Josh Allen made plays where I'm like, dude, this kid's – I mean, he made some errant throws. Like, wow, it's terrible. But, dude, he managed the game well. He threw a couple passes, but, dude, he threw the ball away when he had to. I mean, and the whole body language and demeanor that Josh Allen has, his teammates gravitate to him. Yep. Sam looked dazed and confused, and they showed him on the bench a couple times where he was on the bench with his head sulking, and I think Adam Gase sitting next to her with his fucking hand in his goddamn playbook. I don't know what he does in that fucking playbook, dude, because he's always staring at it. How can you be staring at it for 3 hours during the game and nothing ever changes? Are you drawing cartoons? Like, what is he drawing on there? Because, dude, he's always, look, it's this him, dude, watch. I think, here, this is Adam Gase studying the fucking thing for 3 hours and nothing changes. What is he drawing, dude? Is he writing a new resume? Like, what is it?
Your comment on Twitter was the best, that the mask should not be covering his eyes.
Then it looked like it though, right? You see, all you see is the brim of his hat and his mask. Like maybe you can't see the goddamn field,
dude. Like I said earlier, I expected this to be bad. I expected a loss. I did not expect to get embarrassed and blown out in this fashion where we did not look competitive. That I did not expect today.
So we're going to try to evaluate a lot of things. We'll try to answer as many questions as possible. We appreciate you guys tuning in. This is only our second time doing this. Dude, Becton was thrown to the wolves today, and I thought he held his own. I mean, the Bills are a very physical defense. They have a lot of speed. I mean, he had the one sack he gave up, but I don't think it was really his fault.
Yeah, it was a coverage sack.
Yeah, I mean, there was guys all around him missing. I thought at times McGovern looked a little bit shaky. Van Roten looked a little shaky. Yep. But this is a line that this is their first time legitimately playing together. So you're going to have some speed bumps. I thought it could be a little worse. I was worried about him, them really teeing off on Sam. But Sam would roll out and then, throw it. But the other thing I don't understand, I'm rambling, dude. What I don't understand is he flourishes in the hurry up. Sam plays well in the hurry up offense.
Glad you mentioned that.
Sam plays well when they roll him out. Why not do that? Like, didn't Adam Gase tell us that in the offseason they try to figure out things that he flourishes in and does things better with? When you see the offense stagnant or you see that he's kind of struggling and can't even compete a pass, change it up. Make it a They did for Josh Allen, dude. They changed it up for Josh Allen.
Or how about this? When you're forced to do it towards the end of the first half and it actually works and you're moving the football and you end up putting up points, how about when you get the ball back in the second half, you continue with that instead of going back to the same fucking thing that wasn't working?
It makes no sense, dude. The guy's name is Tyson. Thank you, man. We appreciate the kind words. You're going to get plenty of passion. You're not going to get a lot of quality X's and O's stuff. Get that on another podcast. We're just fans talking football. And I'm just pissed today. I'm just
same, dude.
I mean, so we got Trevor Davis. When you're kicking a field goal at the end of the half, when you should be going for a TD to just say you didn't get blown out. That's the exact point.
Yep,
That's it.
That's exactly what it was. Trying to put up some points to soften the blow of how bad this shit show really was. That's exactly what it was.
And it was exactly what you don't want to do. When you're in that, you take one shot in the end zone. And the whole thing is you have Herndon. You have the size of Perryman. Why not throw a fade pass? And that takes you like 5 seconds.
You know what?
6 seconds most.
And not just that, it shows just the completely different mindset of both of these coaches. Bills were up 14-0 at one point, 4th and 1. They fucking go for it. Without hesitation, they go for it. Completely different mindset from both of these coaches.
It's a loser mindset from Gase. It's a loser mindset. He's not aggressive. He's conservative because he's scared of like the blowout atmosphere, and he quits. Yep. He quits on play calls. He quits on games. He concedes victory points. That's what he does. And it's the same criticism Todd Bowles had.
That's why in 4 years in one game he's got 25 double-digit losses on his resume already. I mean, there's a reason for that.
Yeah. So we got another comment. May, Bless looked good. Becton looked okay. Ficken was solid. I mean, Ficken wasn't tested.
No.
I mean, but you could add in.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bless Austin played well. I mean, he was good in run support, had some nice hits on Diggs, didn't get burned badly in coverage, so I thought he played decent. But, opposite him, Nate Hairston, once he took over for Desir, he wasn't much better. And Desir still had the
that pass interference call was bullshit, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, it still wasn't much better than what Desir was doing. So we got a major issue in the secondary.
You know who I like, to be honest with you? I like the way Neville Hewitt plays, man. Neville Hewitt's a baller, dude. He seems like he's a good commander of the defense. He's sideline to sideline, a lot of big hits. He seems like he's under control. I like the way he played. Bash him again.
Him and Langy both, I thought, were pretty good. Even Luvu had the nice pressure on that one play, but it's not enough.
Your thoughts on Quinnen Williams?
Who? I didn't see him. I mean, he had the 2 penalties, and other than that, I mean, where was he? So as far as taking the big leap heading into year 2 and living up to those expectations as a 3rd overall pick, didn't see it today.
And the weird thing about Quinnen Williams, and the only reason why
that comment.
But the thing about Quinnen Williams that you wonder about is that when he comes out, the guys that come in, whether it's Phillips or whoever it is, they always seem to make plays. Like they always seem to be around the ball when he comes out. And then when he comes in, the only thing you have is the bad penalty. Like you never see that impact play. And the other thing you saw today was, especially in the first half, they must have missed 3 or 4 sacks, dude. Like Marcus May had a really bad one where he missed him. It was Basham. George Jacobs missed him on one. And it was like, those are all crucial plays too, where you get that play. It changes the whole dynamic of everything. And, of course, once they miss that, Josh Allen runs for whatever. He makes a big throw. But your thoughts on Robbie Anderson today? Any thoughts?
Dude, I was sick. You watched Teddy Bridgewater hit him for a 75-yard touchdown to put Carolina ahead in the 4th quarter. I know they ended up losing. But Robbie finishes, 6 catches, $115. Jamal Adams in the first half, 7 tackles, 2 for a loss, and a sack. I mean, when you're a team that lacks talent, to hear some of the calls that we've had over the last few weeks about how, it's okay, we're going to be fine without Jamal. We didn't need Robbie Anderson. Perriman's going to replace him just fine, and he's going to burn Tre'Davious White. Like, bullshit, dude. Like, who are you trying to kid with this? Like, we're a team that lacks talent, and we've let a couple talented players walk out the door in the effort of rebuilding. The forever rebuild that, never stops. So,
yeah, I mean, if you look at that prize signings, it was probably Perriman, Desir, and George Fant. Perriman did nothing. Desir was benched, and George Fant held his own. And that was the comment. Another comment, Russell Williams, I feel like we never throw the ball past the line of scrimmage. And that's the concern. All these little bubble screens, all these little screen things. And that's what the Buffalo Bills prepared for. Because a lot of times when they caught it, you could see all the Bills just swarm to it. Like they knew it was coming.
Yep.
So, I mean, another comment. Fant was decent too. I mean, he had a couple plays where I thought he was holding. He didn't get called for it. But listen, I mean, that's
for a week 1 offensive line, I mean, it was a mixture, good and bad. But for the most part, Fant and Becton both, I thought they held their own for the most part. I agree with what you said before, though. Van Roten and McGovern looked a little bit shaky at times, especially in the one game up the middle. That was a little bit concerning. But as far as the ends go, I mean, week 1, most you can expect against a good defense. So.
Great point from Brian Morales, and I could not agree more. Sam looks so uncomfortable in the pocket even when there's no pressure. Footwork, hesitancy, trying to read the field, staring at guys, not a good look, dude. Fundamental football from him, he didn't look pretty back there, man. He looked like he was either dazed, confused, rattled, or just lost.
Yeah,
for a good portion.
Yeah, I mean, he brings up a great point, though. Like, even when there's no pressure, but a lot of times there is pressure. I think it was, 16 or 17 times he was facing pressure. So I feel like he's just expecting it at all times, and he's got that happy feet, which, again, goes back to you allowing your quarterback to regress like that, not setting him up for success, not gaining him confidence, not having receivers that are gaining separation to make some easy throws. None of these things are happening for him right now.
No, it's concerning, man. Like I said, this is Like I'm legitimately starting to become concerned about Sam Darnold and what's going to happen around him and how Adam Gase handles it. That's the bigger problem.
And I'm concerned about Sam too, but not because of Sam, but because of what we're doing to him. Like that's why I'm concerned. Like he still has the ability to be a great quarterback, but at some point we've got to start changing some shit up to actually get him to succeed.
So another comment from Mega Vegan. I guess he's a vegan. Gase has no response to 9 guys in the box. Well, what do you? I mean, and this is my biggest complaint. You knew this was going to happen. Like if you're the Buffalo Bills, there's not one receiver that you're scared of. You're not scared of nobody. If anybody, you're scared of Bell and Herndon. That's all you're scared about. So you stack the box and dare us to beat them. Like Sam Darnold, I want to see you beat me. Adam Gase, I want to see you come out with a game plan that confuses us and gets guys open. And what do? Bubble screens, little bullshit stuff. And now the thing that's getting weird is Sam Darnold starting to float passes to the sideline. He never did that before because now he's throwing off his back foot. Now they're starting to sail on him. I'm like, what?
The 9 guys in the box really bothers me because that's something we've talked about almost every single show leading up to this Bills game, that we knew what the approach would be for the Buffalo defense, which is going to be force the wide receivers to beat you. And the fact that we didn't have any kind of an answer, I mean, was there one trick play, an end around, halfback option, like something to try to get them? Nothing. Exactly.
Nothing.
So what did we do the last few weeks to prepare for this?
I mean, the next comment, Mike Knight, timing with the wide receivers was off. It was off because he missed wide receiver. He missed wide open guys. There was especially in the first quarter. There were plays where Crowder, like you make that, it gets your offense in sync. There was no rhythm. There was no reason. There was nothing. Like they were just sitting ducks out there. And then Sam's confidence goes right to shit. Adam Gase's play calling, which is already shit, goes even worse.
And I was going to say that there was one play where Sam made a phenomenal throw. I think it was on the run to Crowder, and of course he drops it. So it's like, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So even when he does make a play, he can't get any confidence from that because it didn't result in anything.
So we got Sam. Well, see, then you know what?
If we close to aliens.
So the comment was Sam was seeing aliens out there. So if you take the Adam Gase justification of things, when they said that our offense sucked last year, it basically said we sucked differently this year. So now we only, instead of ghosts, we went to aliens. Now we've actually gotten better. I mean, is that better? It's a different level of
extraterrestrial activity.
Time management 101 is the comment, and that will drive me insane because the time management issues that Adam Gase makes should not happen for a veteran head coach. Nope. That's a rookie head coach move. That's things you don't expect. It's quitting, it's losing, it's conservative, and you'll never win a playoff game or a Super Bowl thinking like that. Period. Never. You'll never do it. Like, I have no faith. If he's in a big spot with game on the line, I have no faith in him whatsoever. He will choke that shit away so bad because he'll probably shit his pants. He won't know what to do.
Completely agree. That first half drive drove me insane. The fact that we were playing for a field goal and, the way he wasted his last time out. And then even, towards the end of the game, towards the 2-minute warning, just letting the clock run down. I'm like, we've given up on this. And
this is going to start, and it started in the first quarter of the game, was what week does Gase get fired? I mean, listen, there are so many questions about ownership, the power that Joe Douglas has and everything else. I have no idea. I mean, I don't.
To be honest, I don't think Gase is going anywhere midseason. But if you see more games like this continue, it wouldn't shock me if we get to week 9, week 10, and then ownership just says, you know what, Greg Williams, here are the keys, finish it off, and then we're going to find somebody next year.
See, the only benefit they have right now is that it's not a benefit. Keep in mind, I understand the parameters of the world we're living in. Is that next week when they play San Francisco, there's no fans in the building. Nobody's going to boo them out. They're not going to have people with the banners and flags and bags over their head and all that. So the Jets can avoid a lot of this shit this year. But next year, I'm assuming that normalcy, it could be the end of this year we have fans back in the stadium.
You know what? They don't avoid it because they pay attention to everything that's going on social media and what the fans are saying. So, I mean, if fans aren't in the building, they're just going to be on social media, on YouTube, making comments. Like, they read all that stuff. They know what's going on. They know what the general opinion is of what the fans think. So there's no hiding from, this disaster that's impending. So.
Yeah, I mean, to them, the most important thing is ticket sales, and they don't have to worry about that this year. So this year they can get away with it. Next year they can't. The comment is this was worse than last year. This performance was terrible. This was terrible. There's no
definitely felt that way.
I mean, it's disappointing because the built-in excuses that he had for the new players and new positions wasn't the problem. The other things that happened were the problem. Like the other things we've already discussed. So I mean, here's one. The comment is 3rd down. Here comes the screen. Your thoughts, prime time.
I mean, that it is what it is. I mean, we saw it on the second drive, 3rd and 9, and you actually had the audacity to think that a Chris Hogan screen pass was going to get that first down with the receiver about 5 yards off of him. Chris Hogan's not making anybody miss, at least not anybody that's athletic. So I don't know what the thought process was behind that.
Next one, the offense did nothing to help out the defense. Fair point. When you're on the field 40 minutes a game, it's very difficult to stay physical, to stay in the game, to keep making plays. That's the same thing happened last year, though, if we're being honest. How many times last year the defense would start off slow, which is weird. They give up 14 points, whatever. Then they fight back, they scratch and claw, they stay in the game, and the offense goes 3 and out. Like, that's how the momentum changes. Like, even the Herndon fumble was big at that point. But, they make all these big plays. You have some passion, you have some energy. And then boom, run, third and long pass, or then it was 3 passes in a row. Just like, and that just life out of it.
I think this is just going to be a year where we're constantly looking at, like, okay, if the offense does something good and the defense is, they need a big stop, they're not going to be able to get it. Or if the defense makes a big play and now it's time for the offense to go down the field and put up some points, it's not going to happen. Like, anytime like we need something big to happen, it's going to be one or the other that's just not working.
Yeah, but the whole thing about this season is about Gase and his offense and Sam Darnold showing some life compared to last year. Like, the defense being okay is whatever. Like, but the whole reason why this guy was hired is to make our offense something that, like, we're one of the worst offenses of football. Like, how many years are we going to keep tolerating this? Like, you want to see glimmers of hope, some kind of progress, and you want to see your young quarterback blossom. Like, why is every other quarterback in the NFL getting better? Fucking Gardner Minshew's he's winning football games, right?
See, but if that was really
Gardner Minshew prime time,
if that's really the philosophy, right? And I agree.
Have nobody.
If that's really the philosophy, and that's what we said it should be for months, like even before the draft, then why didn't we do more to surround Sam with talent?
Gardner Minshew.
Why didn't we trade Jamal before the draft? Why didn't we take 2 wide receivers? Why are we sitting on $30 million in cap space? All of these things can help Sam Darnold right now, yet we're not doing it. So the people that have been commenting that, Jets aren't tanking this year, bullshit. We're tanking, or we're not doing everything we can to win. One or the other, take your pick. Like, you can't excuse it at this point. We have failed him.
The next comment is offense sucks and they go up against a defense that sucks in practice. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, the defense, I think, is competitive, but I think I don't know. I don't have an answer for that one, to be honest with you.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't think the defense was competitive at all today. They made a couple plays that were, kind of gifted to them. Josh Allen fumbling the ball. But other than that, I mean, I'm sorry. The Bills could have put up 40 points today if they really needed to. And you're going to see much better offenses than them. You have KC on the schedule this year. You got Seattle. You got the Niners next week. Like, what are we going to do against those teams? So,
yeah, I mean, what do you do? I mean, that's the problem. I mean, you look at Stephon Diggs did his thing, but you're going to play much more high-flying offenses than this. I mean, Josh Allen was more about running the ball and doing that. When you face a legitimate passing offense.
Even John Brown roasted you on that one play. I mean.
Yep. I mean, okay, next comment from Matt. Sam is easily going backwards. No arguments here, man. I can't even dispute it. I have nothing to say.
And it sucks to say that, and it sucks to feel that way because, like I keep saying, I mean, his rookie year towards the end, like you were saying, wow, like this is what this kid could be. It seemed like the light bulb was going on. He was number 1 in QBR. He wasn't turning the ball over, wasn't making those rookie mistakes. So you expect him to build on that heading into year 2. Then you say, okay, it's a new head coach, new system. There's going to be some speed bumps. Fine. Year 3, now that we should see it, and this is what we get week 1. So.
Yeah, the lack of game situational awareness, the game awareness is making me nervous. It's just, I don't know if he just gets overwhelmed or he gets so down on himself or he just gets frantic or he just feels so much pressure to make a play because he didn't want to let his teammates down where it's like the defense is trying, we're getting the ball back, we're doing absolutely nothing. Where Sam just feels so much pressure, like, I got to do something. Like, you know what I mean?
That's what I think it is.
But. Yeah, I mean, it's – we should have put the second team in there. They were better in camp. Supposedly they were, so who the hell knows? I mean –
well, most of the first team was injured most of the camp, so.
Let's see what we got here. We got fire. Let's see. Why wasn't Cager activated?
Good question. Very good question. Josh Malone was activated, but I don't even think he was out there that much as far as a wide receiver goes. At least I don't think he was targeted at all if he was. So
now we can discuss this. Now Le'Veon Bell is hurt. Hope he can go against the Niners. Oh, boy.
Wouldn't expect it.
Nope. He's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. Yep. Hamstrings, a guy like that, he can't be 70%. And the fact that Adam Gase let him go back out there when he knew he was hurt, and he said in the press conference, I shouldn't have did it. It's so easy in hindsight to say I shouldn't have did it. How many players after the fact, when he already knows they're hurt and they go back in the game, is he going to say he shouldn't have did it? Does he have any clue what goes on? Like, did the my bad can cost your player 3 more weeks.
Maybe he was thinking back to the scrimmage and he didn't want Le'Veon Bell going to Twitter and
But how many times? Like, I'm gonna do a little research project. How many players have been hurt and he put him back in the game and it got worse? And he said, "Oh, my bad. I didn't realize I should." Then he's like, "I shouldn't have did that." Too late now, man. It's too late.
Well, you know what? If that's what's happening in a game, then that's probably happening in practice at some moments too. So you look at all these injuries that we've had, especially during his tenure as, head coach in this division. It's a constant theme with a lot of his teams that there are so many fucking injuries. So, dude.
Yep. Next comment. Sam is not getting any help from any players on offense. We can't even grade Sam because his players don't even help him. Now, listen, I will say that the guys weren't getting open, but there's other things he wasn't doing that I'm concerning. And I will clarify this. I'm by no means an expert. I don't study film. I don't do X's and O's. His footwork looked like shit. His mechanics looked like shit. He didn't look comfortable in the pocket at times. He looked like he was lost. And then he started staring at receivers. None of that is good. But that's just what I was, drinking beer watching the games. I don't know, but that's kind of what I saw. He didn't look comfortable in the pocket. When you look at Josh Allen, who was just sitting there, and when the pocket collapsed, he took off and he ran. He felt comfortable. It's just.
No, I mean, there's legitimate reasons for that. Like, there hasn't been a preseason and there's been limited opportunities to get in sync with a lot of these guys. So we expected there to be some kind of hiccups, throughout this game. But there wasn't any chemistry at all. And he did not look comfortable at all with anybody that he was working with out there. And as the game progressed, he just looked less and less comfortable and he started forcing things. And I think that's why he made some of the mistakes. It doesn't excuse it. He's in his third year now. He should know not to do certain things, like taking a sack when he's, near the sidelines or just throwing a ball up to get picked off. Like, those are things that he should be eliminating from his game. But I get why he's doing it because, the team's down 3 scores. It's like, I'm trying to make a play happen here. I'm trying to make something happen. So.
Comment from our good friend Ryan. Bad statement toward the end of the first half was Allen had more rushing yards than the Jets as a whole for the whole half. Left one pathetic. No arguments here, man. It was an awful half of football, man. It was just gross. It was embarrassing. And all the comments that were warranted. Dan Orlovsky blasted Gase. He blasted the Jets offense saying, what do you expect from Sam when he's surrounded by this and this kind of play calling? I mean, Dan Orlovsky, he studies tape, man. So, I mean, that's him. Let's see what we got. Next comment, tackling was horrendous. No arguments here. But now, the only caveat to that, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, is we kind of expected some of this because without preseason and a modified training camp, I expected sloppy tackling, and they probably missed at least 2 sacks, probably 3. That could have made a big difference. But some of the arm tackling, special teams was bad, dude. Like, they weren't even within – they were just, like winging it. I was like, this is –
I mean, especially towards the end of the game, I guess you can understand it a little bit as, guys were getting tired and they were out there for 35 minutes. But earlier in the game, it was pretty much the same story, so it wasn't changing.
Next comment, they are honestly the worst team in the league with Washington and the Jaguars winning. I mean, I don't know how to – I mean –
Looked like it today.
I mean, they didn't play well. They played probably one of the favorites to win the division, a playoff team from last year with a lot of continuity, a team that set their quarterback up to win, and the kid played well. I mean, where the Jets stand is probably going to look worse next week because they play the 49ers. I mean, you got to hope that the 49ers have jet lag or something because I just don't. All right, next comment. Can the Jets bring in Antonio Brown or Des Bryant?
Why would any of those players want to come here?
Yeah, they want to go to a winning organization. First of all, Antonio Brown, no thanks. I'm sure Des Bryant probably wants a decent amount of money, and he wants to play for a winning organization. Like, he wanted to go to Ravens initially, so, that's best Jets postgame. Hey, we appreciate it, man. We appreciate it. Our second one, we're trying to figure it out. Why are we mad this team is pathetic? Jamal, Robbie making – yeah, listen. Robbie Anderson and Jamal Adams are probably enjoying a good drink tonight and a lot of laughs, I'm sure. And that's
where they are.
Let's see. And now here, and what's already bothersome, and I don't blame Jet fans for doing this by no means, but it's already about the tank for Trevor stuff. Like, we got to get Trevor Lawrence. We got to ship Sam out. That sets us back so far, dude. If we quit on Sam, we have to go through this whole process all over again. And then it's like, okay, you're going to have to go through a new quarterback, probably a new coach, or if you give Adam Gase Trevor Lawrence, then I really quit.
Well,
you know what I mean? But then the other scenario is, or if you fire Gase and you give Sam another coordinator, which would be it's just
that's kind of what you have to. That's kind of what you have to do, don't you? I mean,
yeah, you have to. You have no choice. It's a mess, no matter how you're doing.
At this point, if you're picking first overall, I mean, I think the season went so far south that Gase is obviously gone. And then instead of picking Trevor Lawrence, I'd look at it as an opportunity to trade that for a ridiculous haul to a quarterback needy team. And
we're talking draft in week 1.
I hate that we're talking draft week 1 of the season, but
I can't.
I mean, the opportunity to have 6 first-round picks over the next, 2 years to build around Sam. I mean, that's something to look forward to for the future, I guess. But for this
a quick little escape from this. Check out Primetime, NYSF Mag, NYSFMag.com, and check out, I have a t-shirt brand, NJMMAshop.com. We're raising money with the community food bank in New Jersey. Some pretty cool shirts. And now we'll go back to the comments. We got lots of comments, Primetime. Let's see. Thank Douglas for bargain shopping. Well, it's not the early reviews for this. The early reviews, week 1 reviews for this free agent class was not ideal.
Free agent and draft class.
Yeah, I mean,
aside from Becton and Braden Mann, what did we get from this draft class out of 9 picks today?
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't. Everything went. Next comment is everything went wrong for the most part of the game. It did. It really did, and that's definitely a problem. I don't know, man. It's just next comment. Pierre Desir was terrible. Austin is number 1 corner. I'll tell you what, bless Austin's a physical player, man. He lays the wallop down. He hit Diggs the one time. He blasted the shit out of him. I like the way he plays, like the attitude he has. Pierre Desir, I'm waiting to hear the update on him because he missed a lot of time with the hamstring injury. Was he fully in shape? Was it still something lingering? And that's where you have your depth challenges. Nate Hairston, I thought, did okay.
You know what, though? That still falls on Douglas because this was a player that we signed with those kind of, injuries from last year where he did not play well. The 2 years prior, yes, he was a very effective corner, but there was a reason. He only signed a 1-year contract and he was out there as a free agent. He only got, $6 million? So you were taking a gamble that he'd be able to stay healthy this year. And, so far through training camp in week 1, it's not looking good.
Next comment, Gase's comments about Sam's second-year comfort is laughable, and after that kickoff delay of game penalty. That delay of game penalty after the kickoff drove me, and you try to stay, you don't want to be too emotionally involved. You want to try to be, stay reasonable, all right, there's a lot of things going on. There's some things that are inexcusable. Yep. That shit's so inexcusable. You're like, how does this happen? This is rookie stuff, my rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback. Your first year.
But you know what? Even if somehow it got by Adam Gase, how many other fucking coaches do you have on that sideline? Nobody realized that there was the incorrect personnel that was running out there for 2 minutes before they were ready to snap the fucking ball.
It's just insane. How many personal fouls were on the D line?
3, I think. It was 9 penalties for 95
today, so. Yeah, such sloppy stuff. The roughing the quarterback's always a big one. It's always seems like it's Quentin Williams, and that's ridiculous. Josh Allen was smiling, having a grand old time. He sure was, man. His body language, his chemistry with his teammates, the way he ran around and made plays, and nothing fazed him. He made a bad throw or whatever else. He missed a couple of wide open guys in the end zone. Didn't faze him. Bounced right back. He's resilient. And when we did our pregame show, whenever the hell that was, Friday, I guess it was.
I think so.
I gave him credit, dude, because the kid's a player, man. He's not perfect. No quarterback is perfect. He's lined up for success. A lot of playmakers around him, and he played well, dude. The fumbles, the only thing is his fumbling is going to hurt them, which it did last year in the playoffs. But that's, hey, man.
I hate that we have to say it, but Josh Allen looks like a very good quarterback right now and a future franchise quarterback as long as they
better than Sam is.
Absolutely. As long as they keep those pieces around him and they obviously have a head coach that, is catering his system to what Allen does well, letting him run the ball and do things like that. He is set up in a perfect situation to just continue growing and continue gaining his confidence. And like you said, with the body language, completely different. Allen's having, a great time. He looks confident on the sidelines. And Sam, he's sitting there, head down, Gase in the playbook, just totally different.
And his team gravitates to him. He's always smiling. He's jumping around. He has that energy, that passion. Yep. It's I know it's not Sam's demeanor, but, you have to have that energy, man.
Yep.
Next comment, defense was getting scorched on the Allen runs in the first half. I'm not sure if they had a spy on him or a consistent spy, but it was a lot of broken tackles, a lot of missed tackles. Like we mentioned earlier, probably 2 or 3 missed sacks that drive you crazy because that changes the whole momentum of a drive. But
that's what you have to prepare for with a guy like Josh Allen. He's very similar to, a Roethlisberger in the pocket where he can, wiggle out of would-be sacks, and you got to be ready for that.
Here's an interesting comment. If I see Frank, listen, just to show that we're free rating here, man. We don't have any sponsors. We can do whatever we want here.
That's the comment of the night.
If I see Frank go run on 2nd and 10 one more time, I'm going to slap Gase in the taint. That's fine. Some of the play calling makes no sense to me. I don't really understand it. And then it's if you know that Bell is hurt, give Josh Adams some run, man. You got a touchdown, but.
And not just that one. I'm pretty certain in the second half, somewhere on my notes, I got a million fucking notes here. I think there was a 2nd and 10 run that he gave it to Frank Gore, but he got bailed out on the face mask, right?
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, that was actually the next play was the fucking Herndon fumble. So,
yep. Desir was getting burned by Diggs. He got benched for his crappy coverage. That's true. But he also missed a lot of practice time. So before I roast him even more for just being awful, I kind of want to hear the aftermath of what happens like the next. Because what's going to happen is today there are all the excuses. Tomorrow the injury report comes out. So he can go to the locker room today and be like, oh, coach, my hamstring, my quad, this and that. They'll be out 3 weeks. Yep. So before I, kind of wait to hear about that one. Ashton Davis, dude, for some reason, I thought he'd play a lot more. Like, I really thought you'd see him a lot more out there. The comment is Ashton Davis thought this was the Penn Relays. Welcome to the NFL, rookie. Welcome to the NFL. Can't try that shit anymore, man.
Yep. He'll probably show up on the injury report, too. He was down for a few seconds.
He got smoked.
Yep.
Next comment, Josh Allen looked really sharp. Minus the two fumbles were bad, and he missed 2 guys in the end zone. Other than that, I mean, I don't have the hatred towards him. I really don't. I don't.
I'll be honest. When he was drafted, I thought he was going to be a bust, and he's proven me wrong so far. He's gone out there. He's made plays. I'll continue to credit the Bills for setting him up for that success. And I think if he was working with Sam Darnold's cast, and Sam Darnold was working with what Buffalo has, it'd be a completely different story. But you give credit where it's due.
Yep. Who do we blame for the poor wide receiver play? Douglas not drafting extra wide receivers, Donovan Peoples-Jones, or Gase for his misuse of personnel, zone blocking scheme for Le'Veon Bell? Yeah, prime time.
Well, I don't think that any rookie was going to dramatically change the landscape of these wideouts, but the idea of not taking 2 wideouts into this draft, I mean, the fact that we only got Rashad Perriman and that was our hope to replace Robbie Anderson, and then you put all your hopes in the draft on Denzel Mims, a kid who we all thought was going to need a little bit of time to get acclimated to the NFL. I put it on Douglas for not doing more this offseason because he had plenty of resources between draft picks and cap space to do more to surround Sam with talent.
Yeah, the wide receivers, it's about talent. Not having Mims hurts. Perriman, you could say Perriman had an all-pro corner on him. Okay, that's fine. But, I mean, if Hogan and Berrios can't get open, that's a problem. Herndon didn't do nothing. I mean, how many excuses can we make here? I mean, at some point, and then it's like, is it the play calling? Is it the scheme? Are they running different routes? Or are the routes predictable like they were last year? We don't know what that is. Yeah. The zone blocking scheme for Le'Veon Bell, the problem with Le'Veon Bell is that he's not a fit for Adam Gase's offense, and Adam Gase won't adjust it for him because he's a stubborn, arrogant bastard. And that's the way it works. What's that?
Talked all offseason about how,
he's full of shit, dude. I mean, he just
the Pittsburgh tape. Nope.
He's a man of excuses and lack of accountability. So that's the problem. So now it's like, but if you see the way he likes to run his offense, you saw, Frank Gore hit the hole, but he's 80,000 years old. Bring in Josh Adams. I go sign Devontae Freeman. I go bring another running back in here because Bell's going to be out 3 weeks, or maybe they can sign that Pete Guerrero from Monmouth for like the 30th time. Maybe they do that or something, but I don't know.
I think it all depends on how long they think Piron's going to be out.
Yeah, it's something. I mean, but if he's, even if it's 2 more weeks, I mean, what are you going to do? Go in there with Josh Adams and Gore? And that's it? You got to sign somebody. Okay, what do we got here? Going to be sad when back-to-back third-round picks are both busts.
Oh, God.
I mean,
I don't want to put that label on Ashton Davis yet, but it definitely sucks that we don't have Zuninga out there right now.
Primetime getting called out with the sources. I really hope Kevin was right when last time said he heard from people if Gase sucks, he's gone. I mean,
like I said, I don't expect anything to happen mid-season unless this becomes like a legitimate 1-8 type first start. But by the end of the year, if we're not trending upward, he is not going to be here next year. Feel confident in that.
Okay, I guess I got the score wrong in the title, so I got to fix that. I guess so. We got so many comments, dude. I'm trying to go through them all, and my screen refreshed. So I got to.
Did you forget the garbage time touchdown that we got?
I did. I wrote 27-10.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah.
Well, so roast me. I'm like Gase, man. I'll blame you.
Got to give credit to Gase for that last touchdown.
I didn't notice that. Let's see. We got holy Christ. We got a lot of comments. I'm way behind, man. Keep talking prime time. I got to figure this out.
Dude, I don't have any. I'm trying to look over my notes to see what we didn't address yet. The up-tempo shit still bothers me. Just the fact that, again, the offense was moving the ball at the end of the first half, and then, the second half, you're down 3 scores still. We didn't go back to it. That still bothers me. Just the predictable play calling, going back to all the screens. We pretty much addressed that, though. Dude, I've got so many notes here. I was just writing shit down like as it happened, dude. Dude, at one point, we had 23 yards of offense and 55 yards of penalties.
Yeah, I mean, there was some crazy stuff there, man. It was just like, I'll just start here then. Last year was horrendous as well. What did we expect? Defense spotted them 4 TOs and 8 points. Offense defense scored the same amount of points that game. We scored 0 points in the second half. I mean, I don't know, dude. I mean, my expectations were just different this year. Like, you want to see a different level of football. You want to see like a well-run, disciplined team that was physical with a game plan. And this just seemed like they were just completely out-coached both sides of the ball for most of the first half.
The defense was shit, but I expected the defense to be shit. I expected much more from the offense, though. I expected some kind of, creativity, getting Le'Veon Bell involved, like having some kind of plan. And there was just nothing there.
Yeah, so the next one is defense is just as bad as the offense, and Herndon is too overhyped. I expected more to Herndon, dude. Yep. I definitely expected more. Yep. I mean,
him and Quinnen Williams were the two guys that we said if the Jets were going to be competitive this year, both of those guys needed to have breakout years, and they were both invisible today.
Especially when you go into the game plan where you said, listen, Perriman's probably going to be locked down, it was so funny. When I said that last week or Friday, I'm like, Perriman's not going to get open. You're just a hater, man. You're a hater. You don't know what you're talking about. What did Perriman do?
Nobody. Yeah,
an all-pro corner just made Perriman invisible. But what do I know? Just a fan. Yep. But you said that, okay, Perriman's not going to do much. They're going to stack the box for the running game, use Crowder, use Herndon, use Bell as a wide receiver. That's the way you kind of get around it. And they didn't do any of that. So,
nope.
Next one. It's embarrassing when I jump and cheer for a first down. Dude, a first down. I'm happy when they complete a pass from more than 5 yards.
I was going to say, as soon as I got the first down, I did it like I was at the Jet game, and that is the Jets' first down. I was trying to get excited.
It's just
down 2 scores already. I'm like, shit.
Let's see. They don't like Sam Darnold. I don't understand how people don't see this.
I don't agree with that.
Neither do I.
I still believe that a big part of why Joe Douglas was willing to come here was because of Sam, that he felt he had a franchise quarterback under contract for the next number of years. And it just sucks that, Adam Gase is not, able to do more with him or able to get him to the level that Allen is. And I'm not excusing Douglas also because, like we just said, I mean, he made a number of mistakes this offseason where he could have put more talent around Sam to maybe, ease the transition a little bit. But I don't know.
Next comment, Sam is not mature yet. He has a young mind. Well, you know what? Yeah, and he's already played in a couple of years. I mean, these excuses slowly but surely. You want to see progress and game awareness, time management, stuff like that, understanding where the blitz is coming from, how to manage that, how to roll out, how to read a defense. You got to see progress in all that. Footwork. I mean,
I wonder what they're doing in practice. Like as far as the film room goes, as far as the actual on the field
he needs
stuff.
A quarterback coach other than Jordan Palmer.
No arguments here.
Here's a great question. The Jets have been ruining my fall and winter seasons for over a decade. When will it stop? I don't have an answer for you. I really don't have an answer. Because right now you're sitting here and you're like, all right, like this is week 1, dude. Like one of my favorite weeks of the year is like week 1 and the Jets home opener, which is going to be different this year because of all this other shit going on. But like you're excited. You try to buy into it. You're like, maybe they can surprise the Bills, just shock the world and, rally us or play a really inspiring game where you say, you know what? We're playing the 49ers. We have a chance. Now we're going to enter this with the whole fire Gase shit's back because now he's acting like a jackass in his press conference. Now there's questions about Sam Darnold, the only prize guy we have, and Le'Veon Bell's hurt. Yep. Like there's nothing happy about. Like you go into Monday morning at work tomorrow, like I don't even want to see my coworkers. I'm like, Jesus, your head's going to be down. Like just like put headphones on. Like you don't want to talk to nobody.
At least I get to wear a mask at work.
Oh, I mean. Next question. Any chance Gase benches Darnold?
No.
Oh, for who? What, Morgan?
He can't do that. There is no chance this fan base or the media, even as much as the media has given Gase a pass on a lot of things, there is zero chance that anybody would allow him to survive benching Sam for what we currently have backing him up. There is no chance.
Next comment, he's going backwards because Gase is a bum coach. Listen, Gase was brought here to make Sam Darnold better. He played better under Todd Bowles.
Yep.
What does that tell you? That's just fact. That's just no sugar. That's just legitimate fact. So, what we got? Are we going to go 0-16?
No. I don't think so.
Maybe 4-12, but not 0-16. It's just so frustrating that after 3 years, national pundits are still debating on who's the better quarterback. Can't believe this is still a conversation. This coach is killing Sam. Listen, you watch this game. You watch this game today, prime time. Josh Allen is better than Sam Darnold right now.
I say it's a conversation. Yes, exactly. Because Josh Allen performs significantly better than Sam. Not because it's Sam's fault. He missed some plays, obviously. But look at what the fuck he's working with. What do you expect from the guy?
But you watch it as an outsider looking in, people are going to say what? Sam Darnold blows.
Yeah.
Josh Allen is a rising star in the NFL.
And that's why for the first time ever, I'm starting to have concerns about him because all this stuff, you can't ignore all of it from the national media, local media. It's coming from every which direction. So at some point, he's going to start hearing some of this. And you worry if it's going to start rattling him, affecting his confidence. All of that you worry about.
No doubt. Bell being hurt allows Gase to play the running back he actually wants. You're right.
I thought that
and in theory, use the offense he wants. I mean, that's
running back by committee. That's what he wants to do.
You're right, man. I can't even argue with you there. Adam Gase is doing a Rich Kotite speed run, and that is true because the press conferences are very similar. I'm old enough to remember Rich Kotite and his bullshit he did, and he always started out with great week of practice. We had a great week of practice. Didn't translate to the game. We left it all on the field. We gave max effort. We're going to watch the film, get back at it next week. A lot of this shit, Adam Gase says the same way. The whole lack of accountability, very, very similar.
See, I was in the building for the Rich Kotite years, but I was young enough where I didn't give a shit about the press conferences, so I didn't have to hear any of that.
Oh, that brought out next level rage out of me because they were the Jets actually had some talent then, but they were always out of shape and they always self-destructed. And it's just, let's see, crazy how he passed on Matt Rule or Mike McCarthy. But listen, you know what's interesting? This is the kind of mood I'm in prime time. Where are all these Adam Gase defenders tonight? Because the entire offseason, when we questioned everything and had doubts and all last year, we got to bring him back for continuity. We got to do all these things, and he's going to do this. Dude, they're silent as a bird. I mean, there's nothing going on now. There's not an Adam Gase critic anywhere. You can't justify what you saw today. You can't justify when he tells you the offense, the passing game was terrible. That's what you were brought here for. Your franchise quarterback is playing terribly. He's going backwards. Like, you can legitimately see it. Like, the mistakes we happened today, these are all reasons what he was brought here for.
I tried to convince myself year two, maybe, you get some continuity, but no, it doesn't look good right now.
I still don't understand this. I get it, but I don't see Gase being fired anytime soon, but I do see him benching Darnold. This keeps up for the next few weeks.
No.
Dude, if you there's no way you bench Darnold, man.
No.
Unless he's like ridiculously injured and banged up and he can't walk or his arm is falling off, but who are you going to play? Oh, I guess, what? I'm sorry. I apologize. Flacco. I forgot all about Flacco. Maybe they would, dude. Maybe they would. I blew it. I completely forgot about Flacco. If Flacco's back in 5 weeks and Sam's shit in the bed, they probably will play him.
You really think they would do that? 38-year-old Flacco?
If we're 1-4 and the offense is playing like this, do you think Adam Gase wouldn't be a prick and do something?
But exactly. If you're 1-4, that's an opportunity for more reps and an opportunity to grow your young quarterback, not to give those reps to a 38-year-old Joe Flacco. That makes no sense.
I forgot all about Flacco. I didn't even think about him. That's something oh, Christ. I couldn't even imagine. Let's see. Young Kobe. Oh, I should have took him out. Adam Gase on Avery Williamson. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The comment is, I should have took him out. Adam Gase on Avery Williamson injury last year in preseason. The same shit he said today about Le'Veon Bell. I knew he was hurt. I should have took him out earlier. What are you waiting for? Isn't your responsibility to save your player from himself and take him out of the game to not further injury?
That was a different scenario, though. With Avery Williamson, he was completely
He shouldn't have been in the game at all.
No, exactly. He was completely healthy at the time. It was just a matter of, all right, you're in the last game of your preseason. Why is your starting middle linebacker still in there in the second quarter towards the end of the half?
Adam Gase, the joke. Johnsons need to grow a pair and fire him if he doesn't turn around by week 4. They'll never do that. If he gets fired, it'll be the end of this year. He'll get the whole season. Trade Bell. How are you going to trade Bell when he's hurt? That's not going to happen. That's a huge setback in my opinion, but what do I know? Let's see. This won't get fixed until Johnson sell the team. I'm not,
Well, Woody's coming back in a few months, right? Supposedly.
Who knows, man? He's got a lot of the off the field issues that he has to deal with. Woody, if he comes back, he's gonna be walking into a. I was gonna say
if he comes back to this shit show, it wouldn't shock me if he just gets rid of Adam Gase. Doesn't want to deal with it.
Sam needs to use his feet as well. He looks so uncomfortable in the pocket, man. He just doesn't look comfortable at all. He doesn't set his feet on his throws. He just even when the pocket collapsed, he doesn't have any confidence in what he's doing. He doesn't know what he's seeing. It seems like.
Whose fault is that? Because go back to the USC tape. That was one of his greatest attributes. What he could do in the pocket,
his
making
mobility
throws on the run. Absolutely, that's where he excelled. That's where I expected him to be like Aaron Rodgers and Pat Mahomes. He could do those things. So why is it that all of a sudden now the footwork and everything else is completely going backwards.
Yep. No arguments here, man. Next comment. Adam Gase is a boring coach, takes zero risk, terrible play caller, bubble screens on third down, losing coach, has to go. I can't argue with it. I can't argue with his mindset, how he ends half, how he ends games, especially when the Jets are losing, how he quits. Like, he's got a quitter mindset. He just quits. He just gives up.
At this point, it's prove us wrong. Like we've seen enough to believe that the 4+ years that he's been a head coach, like this is what he is. So until we see results that show something different, I'm going to believe that that's what he is.
Yeah, I mean, and this is, before I go into the comment, this is what I was worried about coming into the season, is people questioning every facet of Sam Darnold because he doesn't give us the performances we want to see. Sam has had footwork issues and questionable decision-making since coming out of USC. He looks like the same guy from 2018. I
disagree with that. I agree with some of the decision-making.
It's terrible.
Yes, because he turned the ball over a little bit at USC. He had issues with fumbling the football a little bit. I think he's cleaned that up a little bit, but I think that the interceptions that he does make, it's more because he's trying to do too much because receivers aren't getting separation and things like that. Or when they do get separation, he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to make those plays. But coming out of USC, watch some of those games, like especially the Rose Bowl game, like the way he moves in the pocket and can avoid certain rushers and things like that. Like I felt he had that elite quarterback ability, like the things that Aaron Rodgers does in the pocket, the shoulder moves and things like that, just to buy some extra time. I felt he could do that at an elite level. And, early on in his rookie year, I thought he was doing that. And it just seems like every facet is just going backwards now.
He's so hot and cold. At the Cowboys game last year, you saw it, like, all right, he makes these throws. Like, you get inspired, and then he has some duds. Like, you're like, what is this? It's like,
yep.
Oh, I mean, the next comment. This year's draft hit my mind 2 minutes into the game. There was a time in the first quarter I was like, I can't do this again. Like, I can't even have the energy to go through another one of these seasons where you just watch horrendous football. And it's like, and you don't want to talk draft. Like, I don't want to talk Trevor Lawrence. And after the first game of week 1, dude, it's just, I hate games like this where you just get so discouraged.
Yep.
The New York Jets looked absolutely terrible, unacceptable. That's killed, believe it or not. The New York Jets could have won today if they showed up from the start. Again, should have kept Robbie. He was an outright stud today.
Well, that is a great comment because you look at the way the game was starting to unfold in the second half before the Herndon fumble. You were down 11 points and you had all the momentum on your side. If you had just kept it somewhat close in that first half, you would have been in position to carry that momentum to potentially a win. And once that fumble happened, obviously it was completely out the window. Yeah. But I thought they had an opportunity to get back into it. But trying to come back from 3 scores down against a team that's much better than you have no chance.
And then settling for a field goal without one shot to the end zone because your coach is conservative and just has no clue doesn't help anything either.
Wanted to go into the half feeling good with some points on the board.
Clown. The run defense was awful. May had a great game. Austin looked good. May will be a Pro Bowler this year. If he stays healthy, man. Yep. I mean, he had 2 sacks today. He was all over the field, man. He looked
2
awesome.
sacks, a forced fumble. Yeah, he looked good. A couple tackles for loss.
Here's a great question. What do you guys think it's going to take for Adam Gase to get fired? 3-13.
If we're talking about before the end of the season, I think it's going to take at least like 5 or 6 more games like today before that happens. But yeah, if we're competitive in games and still losing, it's probably not going to happen until the end of the year.
Hot take, bless you. Hot take, bless Austin as a true number 1 corner by the end of the season. I hope he is. That'd be great.
No.
You don't think so?
Ceiling, I think, is a good number 2, but if you're expecting – like if you're talking about a number 1 corner, that means you can put him on Stephon Diggs. You can put him on like guys like Julio Jones and people like that. If you're expecting Bless Austin –
young, man. Maybe not at the end of the season. He's still young. He's a player on the rise that hasn't played a lot of football, man. His whole college career, he was hurt. Like, he's just learning the game right now, and he's a great athlete, very physical. I think he's got talent.
Listen, I hope Matt's correct, but like you just said, though, also, I mean, he's very good in run support. I think that's one of the strengths of his game, and he's improving in coverage. But being a number 1 corner, being able to match up against some of those elite wide receivers, I don't know if he's at that level yet.
Can't be worse than Desir.
No arguments there.
Line up Bell as your best number 1 wide receiver. Put Gore in the backfield. Well, Bell's hurt, dude. Like, Bell's gonna be out. I'd say 2 games at least, right? Hamstrings are tricky, man.
Probably. And again, like the one caller or the one comment just said, I mean, Gase probably wants to have the backfield by committee and to feature, Frank Gore, and he doesn't want Le'Veon Bell here, especially with the cap number that he's making. We all know Gase did not want to pay Le'Veon Bell. So this is a perfect opportunity to prove that his offense doesn't need him.
Yep. Why not sign Bilal Powell?
Great question.
Yeah, so that's what I'm here for, man. I'm here for the questions.
Never should have let Ty Montgomery go.
The delay of game. Yeah, I mean, that delay of game was embarrassing. We covered it a little while ago. That's the shit that's the throw something at the TV kind of rage you get. Like, you're like, it's inexcusable on so many levels. That's like amateur hour football right there.
Yeah. You have 2 minutes to look at the personnel that's on the field, and not one person realized something was wrong.
Here is another common question we're getting. What did Quinnen Williams do? He did something.
Yeah, two penalties.
It wasn't positive though. That's you sit there, and this is the kind of the angry Jets fan I become watching games, dude. I get pissed, and I'm like, there was a time last year where, in theory, supposedly, reportedly, somebody wanted to trade for Quinnen Williams. Yep. You know what? I'm like, I would have fucking did it then, because last year there's already signs that you're like, man, this is not going to work out. Reminds me of Leonard Williams in so many ways, where it's like a lot of talent, all this, either not a good fit for the defense or just not going to be the player we want for where he was picked, right? And you're like, right? Everybody makes plays but him, dude. Why is it Kyle Phillips makes plays, Basham makes plays, McClendon makes plays. Everybody but him is Nathan Shepard. Like, everybody but him.
I think it depends on the compensation that you would have been able to get back for him.
Doesn't matter, man. Sometimes you just got to cut your losses.
So what would you have accepted for Quinnen Williams? A pick that you just invested third overall, that a lot of analysts said was the best defensive player in the draft. Second round pick would have been enough?
2 seconds.
I don't know. That'd be tough. I don't know. Because I would say defensive line is probably one of the more difficult positions to transition to in the NFL. I mean, D-line, O-line in the trenches, just dealing with the strength and speed of the game.
The problem is his money that he makes and where he was drafted. Are we ever going to get the return that we want from him? At some point, you got to flash, dude. Like, I mean, how long?
I still think it's too early to say. I mean, even Shepard and Foley, like these guys that we're praising now, their first year, they were invisible. They didn't do anything. So,
dude, look where they fucking were drafted at.
I agree. I understand that, but
I'm tired of making excuses for like top 5 picks. Like, I'm tired of excuses. How about you show us something eventually? Like, you had your redshirt year last year, so now the excuse is going to be, well, they had no preseason, he's still getting in shape. According to every report, he's in phenomenal shape. He looks explosive. He's this and that and everything else. Where is it? Like, I don't know, man. Like, I'm just in one of those nasty moods, man, where I hate everything right now, so I'm just pissed.
I don't blame you.
And now we have, at least Quinnen Williams had a solid game, only 1 killer penalty. Like, I guess I expect more from him. So now we got people in our comments. I will be live tonight if you guys want to continue to chat. Now they're promoting their own podcast on our podcast. That ain't happening. I'm not going to do that. Let's see. Jets lose every game, so Adam Gase gets fired, or for a better pick. I don't really want to do that, man. I mean,
I don't want to see them tank, but like I said a few weeks ago, I do not want to see this team be in the middle at the end of the year where they're 5-11, 6-10, and Douglas and ownership views that there's enough progress to keep this going forward. I'd either like to see it completely bottom out or to see us get to that 8-9 win range where we're like, that's legitimate progress. Okay, let's move forward with you.
Yeah, but you don't want that for the quarterback, though. Like, the last thing you want is like an inconsistent Sam Darnold all year, where we have like games like this.
Yeah, no, that's
going to be a problem, man.
No, that's what I'm saying. There either has to be legitimate progress where you're comfortable moving forward with Gase, or you bottom out and you move on from him.
Yeah.
There can't be like any middle ground with that.
What a phenomenal question this is. What kind of quarterback would Sam be if he was drafted by the Bills? They would have won this game probably 52-0. Right?
Probably.
That's the kind of confidence I have in him. Surrounded by that kind of talent and that like coaching and that offensive line and everything else.
One question I'll ask for people that are tuned in: what kind of quarterback do you think that Pat Mahomes or even Josh Allen would be with the Jets right now? What would they be doing in this Adam Gase offense? I'm very curious to see what people would think about that.
Yeah, you give Josh Allen, Perryman, and Crowder and Chris Hogan and see what he does.
Yep.
I mean, that's next comment is Sam needs a better mentor. He needs a quarterback coach. How about that?
Josh McCown.
Let's start with the quarterback coach who's supposed to be your head coach. Let's see. Who would have thought that Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson would be so far ahead of Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield? Not me. I like Lamar Jackson, but I didn't think this would happen like this.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield doesn't surprise me at all because, like, just some of the off the field stuff, like the attitude, and I didn't think that the maturity level would be there for him to succeed right away. But Sam Darnold, you didn't have any questions like that. I mean, he was the consensus number one quarterback, I think, according to like 30 or 32 general managers. So
a suck for Sam campaign, for Christ's sakes.
Yep.
Here is a question that knew was coming. How much do you miss Jamal Adams?
You know my take on that. I never.
You answer the question. Good.
I never wanted to trade Jamal in the first place because a team that is supposed to be trying to go for it, trying to win, when you have your quarterback on his rookie contract, which you should be doing, you don't trade your most talented player. And I get it. We got 2 first-round picks. That's a great opportunity to build around Sam for the future, but you still have to hit on those picks. And if you don't, you just set yourself back big time. And, you see all the comments. I think Brett Coleman and a few other analysts were like, how do you trade this guy as he's just entering his prime?
Yep.
Good teams don't do that.
No, I mean, they miss certain things about him. I just think that if you have a quality offense and you can run the ball and have time of possession like the Buffalo Bills did, you can offset some deficiencies on your defense. The Jets don't have that luxury. They don't have. They come in, they start the game with a penalty on special teams, then they go 3 and out. It's like, all right, where is your tone setting on offense? Where is your long sustained drive to tire the Bills defense? Give your defense a breather. Get all the things you can do to help your own team win games. They don't do on both sides of the football. Nope. But if your offense is horrendous, your defense can only last so long, and you get exposed, especially against a quality offense. That's just the way it works. Some of these comments, man, are funny. So I'm not gonna put them on there though, because it's. Let's see.
Don't hold back.
We have no spark. Playing touch football in the NFL will not ever work. I mean, the offense is lifeless. I mean, I'm not sure they have no faith in Gase. They have no faith in their play calling. If it's just they're just, I don't know, man. I don't like you see on defense. No matter what, like Neville Hewitt, Marcus May, McDougald, they're all they're rallying around each other. They're trying to stay into the game. They have a lot of passion. Maybe they get that from Greg Williams, who's a phenomenal motivator. Maybe that's what it is, because he knows if you don't play with passion, you're going to get benched. Where the offense, you don't really get benched because he doesn't do that. That could be too, man.
I don't even think it's a lack of a spark. I just don't think they have enough talent. I mean, it's not a matter of these guys not trying hard, not competing. They just don't have enough talent right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's next one. The Jets might as well be renamed to injured last year, this year. Basically, the questions about injuries and how many we have, and we added some more to the list today. And the biggest one's going to be Le'Veon Bell, and that's a big one. In my opinion, it is. I mean, if you're a Frank Gore fan, you're excited, but I'm not. And with P. Ryan still out another, 2 weeks?
At least, yeah.
I mean, it's a tough spot for the you look at
and the Cashman injury too. I mean, that's definitely concerning. I know Lange played well today, but Cashman was one of your better coverage linebackers, and I think we felt that.
Yeah, I mean it's concerning. You have you look at the areas where you lack depth. It was wide receiver and corner. Now you're adding middle linebacker and running back.
Yep.
So it's oh boy. Do you think we're able to attract a good head coaching talent by having Joe Douglas at GM? I'm going to say yes for 2 reasons. I think that his front office staff is very highly regarded. It's an excellent staff, with Hogan and all these guys. They're all reputable. I think, if anything, it's just – and in theory, you have Sam Darnold too. So it should be a team that has a very good front office, hopefully a young, promising quarterback, and cap space. Any head coach would want that job. You have all the things you want. I mean, right? That would be your selling point.
Completely agree. You have cap space, and you have a young quarterback still on his rookie contract for another 2 years, and you have 4 first-round picks right now in the next 2 years. So I think that's definitely something that a lot of head coaches would be interested in.
Yeah, no doubt. And this just refreshed, but I just missed it. Give me 1 second here. It was an excellent point, so I want to go back and get this one because – dude, we have so many comments, man. Holy Christ. So we thank everybody for joining us. Prime Time's going to talk for 2 seconds when I refresh this because it's
I'm too drunk to keep talking at this point right now. Been drinking all day.
A lot of we'll talk about Eric Bieniemy, man, because I think every other comment is we got to hire Bieniemy.
That's got to be the savior. I mean, like I keep saying, I don't want to fall in the middle this year where, we bring Gase back based off of limited progress. Either take a major leap and we feel good about you, or just bottom out and bring Bieniemy or some true offensive mind in here that can get Sam to where he needs to go.
Yeah, I mean, we'll go here. Jets be lucky to win 3 games this year with the possibility of this coach. We're not going to go 0-16, but I mean, they got to get this ship righted quickly, and they have a lot of injuries. Now it's going to be definitely challenging to figure this out. I mean, it's, having I can see how we're all pissed off today. Can you imagine a bad loss to the 49ers next week, the chaos we're going to deal with?
not going to lie, that first half, it looked like we were probably one of the bottom 3 teams in the league. So I wouldn't say 0-16, but 2-14, 3-13 wouldn't shock me.
I'm not supporting Gase here, but did not want to say anyone who thinks he is the only problem is crazy. This team is not good. They need talent too. Well, we're not arguing with you. We say Gase is not good, but we also say that they need a pass rusher, they need receivers, they need all kinds of stuff. And we think that Joe Douglas took some chances and took a different method that we probably wouldn't have taken. And now we're dealing with some of these problems now. So
Completely agree.
Gase would rather win the PR battle with Smee than actually win games to save his job. I'd like to see a Gase constructed roster in full. I mean, his handling of press conferences is brutal, dude. And we talked about this to start the show off. I watched it. That was the one thing I wanted to do. We do these live streams about 45 minutes later because I want to hear his bullshit. And it's always the same thing. It's always, wide receivers were open. We didn't hit them. We dropped some passes. Nothing surprised us. We expected all of it. So you expect to be down 21-0 in the first quarter then? You expected your offense to go run, third and long punt? You expected all this? And it's never him, dude. He never takes any responsibility, any accountability for all the mess. And it's and he gets snippy with the reporters. He's fucking won something. He hasn't won shit, dude.
Just gonna say that.
He's got no resume.
At some point,
what the fuck is he wanting to be this arrogant for?
At some point, before you start pointing the finger at everybody else and fighting back with the media, you should have something on your resume that says, I can get this done. And he doesn't have that right now. He does not have that leg to stand on to be questioning anybody. So the fact that he's not taking ownership and he's constantly pointing blame at receivers and the quarterback, it looks ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, next comment, been a fan for 35 years. Who cares? It's the same shit over and over and over again. You know what, though? You know what I'm really tired of, to be honest with you, is I'm tired of watching other NFL games and saying, I wish my team played like that. I wish my team had that speed and firepower. I wish my team had that kind of offense. But saying this shit for years. You feel like we're a different NFL. We don't play the same NFL as everybody else. I'm tired of feeling like that, man. Aren't you? You want to be inspired by something, and you're always disappointed.
This became an offensive league how many years ago with all the rule changes and the penalties and everything, and not once have I ever felt like we entered a year feeling like the Jets have taken advantage of that. We went from Rex Ryan and then Todd Bowles, defensive-minded head coaches, and now we finally bring in the offensive-minded head coach, and nothing's changing at all. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on Darnold like most Jet fans, but the O-line is mostly at fault for today's loss. Sam was under pressure all game. Yes, he was under pressure. Yes, the receivers also weren't getting open, and they're also dropping passes. So it's a combination platter.
Yeah, and there were a few, just to be fair, there was a few moments where Sam did have a clean pocket, and he didn't make the throw. So it was a combination of everything going wrong that could have went wrong. So
if you guys are all watching this, which a bunch of you are, please subscribe to their channel if you're not already. I'm doing a terrible job of promoting that. So Gase will certainly use Sam as a scapegoat. Gase is a snake. He did it today. He did it in his press conference today. When they questioned him about the offense, he said the passing offense sucked. Wide receivers are open. The ball didn't go there. Nothing surprised him. They asked him about the play right before the half, which I wanted to break my TV on, and he said the ball didn't go where he thought it was going to go to. So then basically you tell your quarterback, prime time, right? You tell him, do not throw the ball in the middle of the field. Either throw it in the end zone or throw it away. That's coaching 101. Do not do this. There's two things you don't do. These are two things. Throw it away in the end zone. Period. Sideline. This isn't hard shit to figure out here. He didn't do any of that.
I think most people would agree. Jared Goff, he's not a great quarterback. But the Rams went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff 2 years ago. And one of the things that was, in the media all the time during that year was how Sean McVay was always in his headset right up until that very last second, because the headsets go off at 15 seconds. So you have 25 seconds to be in the headset communicating with Sam about what you're seeing, where the ball should go, what the defense looks like. So if you get to the line of scrimmage quick, you have plenty of time to evaluate what's out there and what you want out of that play. So that's on Gase. It's on Gase.
Stop making Sam excuses, please. There was open receivers. We're not making excuses for Sam. I said he sucked today. I'm not making excuses at all. His footwork was bad. His question decision making wasn't good. The sack he took was inexcusable. I'm not making it. I left this game, like we said earlier, primetime concerned. I'm like, we are now gonna have a problem on our hands if this doesn't change. A legitimate problem, because now the media is going to question, the fans are going to question, Gase is going to feel pressure, the organization is going to feel pressure, and that's never good for a young quarterback. Never.
Yeah. I don't want it to come off as I'm making excuses for him. We acknowledged right at the start of this video, he did not play well today. He missed opportunities that were out there. He didn't do things that he should be doing as a somewhat veteran quarterback in year 3, not throwing the ball away, taking a sack, running out of bounds, the one ball that he threw up for the interception, things like that. Yeah, at this point in his career, he should know not to do those things. So it's not making excuses, but it's acknowledging that he has not been put in a position to succeed, and so he's probably going to try to do a little bit too much to compensate for that.
Yep. Yeah. The Sear bench, now what? You got to hope that it was maybe an injury, maybe it was something else, that this is not going to be a monumental problem. Because, Nate Harrison's not terrible, I didn't think. I mean, you have Millette. I mean, but it's not when you're – the problem is, like, we got okay with this week. The 49ers wide receivers are all banged up. But after that, you're going to start facing some teams with some high-powered offenses, and then all these corners are going to get tested. And that's going to be – when you play, like, legitimate number one receivers, which, Diggs is one of them, but, that's when you start getting a little nervous.
Yep.
Let's see. Blast Austin, and Marcus May are ballers. No arguments here, man. And I'll throw in Neville Hewitt, Trevor Lange. Those guys all the
Harvey Lange.
Trevor. I'm just they're kicking in, man. I'm sorry. I just
Trevor Riley, 7th round pick back in the day.
Offensive line looks solid. Whose?
I wouldn't say solid. I mean, I don't think they were the weak point of the offense, but
couldn't run the ball, couldn't throw the ball.
There was still, I think, like 16 pressures, and we didn't have a running game. So
okay, here it comes. If Sam keeps this up, we're in play for Trevor Lawrence or the Ohio State quarterback.
I don't want that.
No, me neither. Let's see here. McDougald was good. He had a couple nice breakups. I don't know. What do you think, Brian? It just
recovered a fumble.
Yeah. What's up with Cashman? Cashman's concerning because your middle linebacker with Williamson already out. You cut Burgess. You have Ogletree on the practice squad. You probably got to bring him up now because now you're going to be thin here.
Yeah.
So
I think they said it was a groin injury, so that's another one of those, similar to a hamstring that can linger a little bit for a few weeks. So, and he already has the history of injury, so that's not good.
Could the Jets trade for Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, they could. They won't, but they could. Let's see what we got. Your thoughts, Prime Time, or are you good with that?
Any receiver that you could potentially get that's, in their prime, if it's a legitimate number one wideout, that's exactly what Sam needs. I don't know if Odell would be the guy that I would target just for, some of the off-the-field stuff, but if you can get a legitimate wideout in here to help Sam, I think you kind of have to explore all options with that.
Do you think the pass rush is slowing our defense down? It's very hard to function when you don't have a legitimate pass rusher because then you got to do all these sellout blitzes and everything else, and you got to get schemes and the soft coverage today, which was pretty bad.
I was going to say that's the one thing that kind of bothered me today is that we were playing that soft coverage. It didn't seem like we were trying to blitz a whole lot. It was just a conservative game plan. It seemed like the cornerbacks were playing like 10 yards off the line. I was kind of surprised to see that.
It's year 3 of Darnold. I have high expectations for him. No more excuses. Not hiking the ball on time. Rookie nonsense. No arguments here, man. It's hard to explain. Like, dude, some of the mistakes he made, dude, you can't even argue them, man.
No.
Doesn't help that we're playing teams back to back with great O lines and D lines. Fair point. They're good teams. This week is good. Next week they're very good. Find a way, man. You can't. The NFL doesn't care. Like you can't just say, okay, you know what? We're playing a really good team. We have to lose this game. We're going to embarrass ourselves and just not be competitive and not be competent.
I was just gonna say, what excuses were the Redskins making today against the Eagles? They didn't make any. They went out and they won the game. What excuses did Jacksonville make against Indy? None. They were 8-point underdogs. They went out and they won the game. So they knew the challenge that was in front of them. They had weeks to prepare for it, and they came out ready, and we didn't.
Next question. Isn't Quinn Williams also hamstrung by how we use him? Don't we use him as a 3-4 tackle when he's better as a 4-3 defensive end? They change their looks a lot, but I'm pretty sure Greg Williams sees a tremendous talent where he can use a versatile look. I'm sure he would go to it. I just think it seems like he doesn't. I don't know, man. I don't want to. You go ahead. What do you think?
Greg Williams, we know he can run multiple fronts. He does 4-3-3-4, but Quinn Williams, he should be a guy that should be able to generate pressure regardless of where you put him on the interior.
It doesn't consistently shed blockers. It's just I don't know. I knew this one was coming. Henry Anderson doesn't make plays. Get his ass out of here. Another terrible Max signing. It was funny when he re-signed him. Everybody's happy about it.
I was going to say that was a good trade for a 7th round pick, but it was a terrible contract extension for 3 years, $27 million. There was no reason to give him that.
All right, and now we got I hate agreeing with the Kevin. I hate agreeing with him too, man. It's never fun. But he's 100% correct. The trench positions take a couple of years. Listen, dude, if you're drafted in the top 5 as a defensive lineman, how many years? You're going to give, 5 years to figure it out? He had last year. Like, Quinn Williams has got to show some kind of progress this year, dude. Like, what do you give him a pass?
He was also hurt at the start of the year last year. I mean, he had a couple injuries from training camp that were lingering, and it looked like towards the end he was starting to, get a little more comfortable and make some impact plays. Today, I don't know what the fuck happened. He was just, I don't know.
Yeah, the Henry Anderson comments keep coming in. Listen, I mean, everybody, we all kind of expecting this to be his last year. Maybe it's not a system fit. The same thing happened when he's with the Colts, man. He had a good year with the Colts, and then it's the same. So interesting. A lot of we're going full circle, man. We're going to everybody now at this point. Let's see. A lot of trade for Odell Beckham. Wow, Brady sucks today.
I'll see. I'm missing that game. I don't even know what's going on in that game.
Frank Pollock is horrible. This is the coach that needs to go. He should have fired last year.
We said that week 5 of last year, right? So,
I mean, when you have the worst offensive line in the NFL and you keep the guy in place for the following year, where the mistakes they were making last year were communication issues, scheme issues, and everything else, that's a legitimate concern. But, Gase won't hold nobody accountable on offense. He only does that on defense. So
I say not one person on that coaching staff on the offensive side was held accountable. Dowell Loggins brought back, Frank Pollock brought back. So continuity.
So now we're going – I don't want to go into the whole Jamal – we're getting a lot of things about the whole Jamal Adams thing. I don't want to go into that. That's off-season stuff. Quinn Williams was completely lost. Marcus May had a great game. Darnold needs to be accountable for the offense being atrocious. Too many drop passes and miscommunication with the wide receivers. And Aaron throws too, man. He missed throws. Like, he didn't look comfortable. Right?
No, I agree. And like I said, when the guys were open, there was either drops or he overthrew it, and then other times they just weren't getting separation. So it was just a combination of errors, man.
Yeah, and this is a topic I don't want to go too much into. Like, there's 2 things in week 1 I don't like talking about is new coaches and draft picks, because it's like we still have 15 games. The obvious answer always is going to be, well, the question is, we know that Gase will not be here long term. Therefore, who'd you like as our next head coach? Everybody is going to say Eric Bieniemy. You watch the Kansas City Chiefs. You watch that offense. You watch how innovative they are. He's a very respected guy all throughout the NFL. That I was surprised he didn't get a job last year, but he's got all the experience. He has the resume. He has it all, dude. Like, he's, that's the kind of guy you take. Unless you say, you know what? I'm tired of having these first-time head coaches. I want a proven guy. You had Mike McCarthy last year. Who knows who gets fired, But that's
on that same token. I mean, like you said, who knows who gets fired? We have to also make sure that Bieniemy would want to come here. Well, that Bieniemy would want to come here as opposed to going somewhere else that might be in a better position to succeed than we are. So. And
that falls on Sam. Like, you want to see Sam progress and really show like glimmers of like, all right, he's definitely improving. But if he's in this like up and down all year, is he going to be a selling point? I mean, there's so many questions that. This is a common one we get a lot. Fire Gase and upgrade Williams to head coach. I think we'd all sign for that now, but that ain't going to happen. I don't think anytime soon.
No.
We're getting some love from Bills fans now. Just for let's see. Just refreshed. It said when it refreshes me, I lose all my comments. I said as a Bills fan, I feel bad for you guys. I'm like, where is it? So hold on. We got a lot of comments, dude. Holy shit.
Fans have no reason to hate on us. We acknowledge Allen's done pretty good. We like their head coach, so.
Listen, I feel bad for us too, man, because like it's just painful. Like it's just like I said earlier, man. Like, you want to see play like the rest of the NFL. You want to have that high flying offense and want something to be excited about. You go into work, you're not excited tomorrow. You're gonna be like, oh, we got to play the 49ers, and is Bell gonna be healthy? And how the hell are we gonna do this? Will Sam be better? Like, you have more questions than answers. Yep. That sucks, man. So here's an interesting one. With Anderson and Adams still on this team, we still lose.
Probably. I think it's more competitive.
I think a lot more competitive. Only Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers will take this lame Jets team to the playoffs. And I don't know. I mean, but that's the thing is like you're looking at a young quarterback in this situation. How many other young quarterbacks you put in this situation would they win? Like Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Drew Lock, any of them?
How many veteran quarterbacks are winning with this team right now, with this offense?
I mean, dude, I don't know. Now we're getting there. People are blasting Henry Anderson. Is Bryce Hall coming back this year? I think he's on what? He's still on the
non-football injury list.
Yeah, so who the hell knows with that, man?
Yep.
What coach do we want? Not going to do too much coach stuff. That's just. Let's see. Organization. Oh, this is a good one. The organization is wasting Darnold's talent.
They're wasting his talent, and they're wasting, like I keep saying, his rookie contract when that's such a golden opportunity to be aggressive and, spend a little bit of money and try to find some pieces that can help him out. And we're essentially punting on those years and trying to rebuild while you have the young quarterback. It doesn't make any sense to me. I thought there was enough pieces in here when Douglas, kind of took over that it didn't need to be that complete rebuild. Yes, we need to rebuild the O-line, find some receivers, get an edge rusher in a corner, but I don't know.
Hold up Gase just as much as anyone else, but JD signed a bunch of backup O-linemen. So what do we expect to sign? They signed no studs in free agency.
I mean, I wouldn't say McGovern's a backup O-lineman. I mean, he was pretty established, but he definitely looked too great today. I thought Fant was okay, and I think Becton, his ceiling is still pretty solid long term. So it's just a matter of not really having a chance to gel and really gain continuity. So I think this was kind of like what we expected for the O-line.
I mean, we want to blast the O-line and stuff like that, but I still got to wait like 4 or 5 weeks to kind of see what they are and like they truly gel and figure things out. So I don't want to, but there were some things where the interior where McGovern and Van Roten had some issues, but that's going to take time, man. Like we can't really try. I know that our pitchforks are out everywhere. We want to like burn everything down and rip everybody, but we got to be a little bit fair with those guys at least.
Yeah.
This is a common theme here, man. Only Adam Gase would call it inside screen pass and no timeouts at the end of half. It
wasn't his fault, though. It wasn't his fault.
He said he called a different play, and Sam threw that. So that's let's see. Fire Gase. Let's see. Love Darnold, but a dual threat quarterback like Lamar Jackson would have covered up a lot of O-line holes and let us spend more draft capital on receivers. What?
Man.
I mean, when the Jets signed Sam Darnold, when they drafted Sam Darnold, it was like parties everywhere. We finally got a legitimate quarterback, like big arm, smart, mobile. He can do it all.
Not just that, we all felt like we got the best quarterback in the draft. We were shocked that he fell to us at 3. We were all talking about, all right, are we taking Baker Mayfield or Josh Rosen? That was the conversation leading up to the draft. Not, is Sam going to fall to us? Nobody expected that. So we, like you said, we were all throwing parties for that.
Bring back Rex. Hey, if you want to see Sam play well, bring back Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles got more out of Darnold than freaking Gase is getting.
Well, that's more Jeremy Bates, though.
Hey, but at least Bowles knew how to do that. At least had a guy that had an innovative offense.
Yeah.
Year 3, Sam can't still be this bad. I mean, I have to tell you, like I'm just shocked. I'm concerned. Like it's disappointing. Like how else do you watch it and not be disappointed? And the other disappointing thing you see is his body language, man. Like he's not a very emotional guy to begin with. He's not a fiery guy. He's kind of always even keel. But when you see him on the bench sitting there, and you have Gase sitting there with his head in his fucking playbook, and you're like, dude, this is not what you want to see at a quarterback. Because you know what? The guys on offense are looking for him for leadership or some kind of fire. But like if they know he's down and out and lost and confused or just can't figure it out, it sucks the life out of them too, man. Like it all trickles down like that. It's concerning, man. It's not a good start at all. It feels like Groundhog Day with this team every year. Hyped up, falls flat. I mean, if we're being honest, we weren't predicting victories today. We weren't like all about we're going to, like this is a 12-4 team. But I think we expected a little bit more today. We wanted to see a much better effort. Just
some
not
competitive football. I mean, some progress. See that guys are on the same page. We had a game plan coming in, like something.
Yeah, I mean. Somebody said trade for Baker Mayfield. I'll pass on that.
No.
Trade for more. There we go. Here's a good one. Do you think Greg Williams, if he took over by week 3 or week 4, could be a developmental stopgap for Darnold until we get the right coach? Who would be Darnold's offensive coordinator? Dowell Loggins?
Well, you'd have to think if Gase gets fired, that Loggins probably goes with him. I mean, those two are pretty much joined at the hip. So I wonder who'd be coaching Darnold if Gase is gone.
That's the problem. If you fire Gase, I mean, who's your coordinator? Who's your guy? Who's your offensive group that's going to take care of him?
Yep.
Let's see. Marcus May, I think, will be a Pro Bowler this year. Marcus May is playing one game. The results are good. He's got to stay healthy for 16 games. That's the first thing. And let him fly around and make plays, and then see what happens with Ashton Davis, man. Like I thought he was going to play a lot more, man. Like I thought I was going to see him all over the place. I don't understand that one.
3rd round pick at safety. I mean, I don't know why he wasn't on the field more.
What's your opinion on Mekhi Becton? Listen, it's trial by fire with him, man. Like he's going to face pressure every week, especially next week. They're going to get after it, and he held his own. He wasn't a huge liability today. He wasn't overmatched. Like I'm curious to watch Andrew Thomas with the Giants, see how he does. Like see how guys that were drafted before him, how they do.
Yep.
So, Prime Time, you right over there, man?
I'm good. Need to go to the bathroom though.
The real question is, will a healthy Mims, Perrine, and Bell, will that make any difference?
This year, I mean, a healthy Bell, I think should, as long as Gase, is willing to, kind of cater the offense to him. Mims, I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Perrine, you shouldn't see a whole lot of Perrine because the offense should kind of revolve around Bell, I think.
Yeah, I mean, now you're hoping to get some kind of – you're good. Right now you're hoping to get some kind of explosive running back out of the backfield that can make a difference. If this is a guy that, in theory, fits Gase's system, that helps. Mims, even if he's healthy, he's got to learn the offense still. What are you going to do then? I mean, this is like a lost year for Mims, to be honest with you. Listen, guys, $30 million under the cap and don't address key positions. Why the fuck not? Well, they have 30. I mean, supposedly there was no guy they thought that was worth spending money on. They didn't want Jadeveon Clowney. They didn't want to trade for Ngakoue. Who do you want to spend money on? Who's the guy right now that you want to spend money on? Is there anybody even out there that you want that's still available? We mentioned Taylor Gabriel. We mentioned Demaryius Thomas. They're not game-breaking talent. Other guys in free agency they didn't make big plays for. So they didn't want to spend it on Jamal. They didn't want to spend it on Robbie Anderson either. So it's interesting. But in theory, if somebody gets cut now, they can make a move now if they want to. But they probably won't because Joe Douglas doesn't like to panic. Jamal Adams sipping water like Kermit the Frog right now. I'm sure Jamal Adams and Robbie Anderson are both very happy right now. Do you think the offensive line had bad blocking schemes? I blame the blocking schemes. I blame Gase. This is his system. Period. That's it. We get the scheme, the plan, the game plan, the point of attack. All this is on Gase. This is his beautiful mind that we're dealing with. I mean, don't you think, Primetime? I mean, that's. You can't you can't force your system. In theory, these linemen fit his system. They're athletic and versatile, right? That was what they told us.
Yep. I blame Gase because I feel like things were just predictable. It was a repeat of last year with the bubble screens and the quick outs, and you didn't really do anything to keep the defense honest or to really test them at all.
Yeah, I mean that's. Oh, no one down. I can hear it. Let's see. We got refreshed again here. So hold on a second. Let me go back down. Where Rex Ryan mentions, holy Christ. It's the curse of Shea Stadium. Now we're getting to that. We're cursing this team. Now we're back onto this again. You can't tell me after this performance and Joe Douglas saving money that we're not tanking. I mean.
Like I said, I hate using that word tank because I don't think any team goes into a year, trying to lose. But you could definitely go into a year saying we're not going to try to win this year and we're going to look towards the future. And that's what I think the Jets are doing.
Sam is another Sanchez scenario going on. I agree. I'm already concerned about that.
How?
Because when Sanchez left here, he left because they failed him with the offensive line, no playmakers around him.
Yes, but Sam has never had playmakers around him. At least, Sanchez had an opportunity to come in with an established.
I'm saying no. I meant the tail end of Sanchez's career. His tail end here was a disaster. It's very similar to that. They just screwed him big time.
Yeah, that I can understand.
One thing I could say is that I do trust Joe Douglas. Why? Based on what? What exactly are we trusting Joe Douglas with?
Reputation. That's what we're going.
That's it. But what has he proven to this point that makes you? He navigated the draft good. And that draft class right now, 6 out of 9 are hurt, or maybe more, right?
Yeah.
So that right now, in theory, if you're going to do instant reaction saying you trust him, based on what? The draft class is his first. It's going to take at least 2 years to figure that out. His free agency class, not a good day to mention that because this year got benched and Perryman didn't do shit.
Not to mention all the moves that we excused last year because he inherited, that roster. Yeah. So all the issues with the field goal kicker,
Ryan Khalil.
We forgave that. Ryan Khalil, the backup quarterback, we forgave that. Trading
Shipped out Osemele.
Nate Hairston, all that. We forgave all that. So this was his offseason to kind of correct some of these things. And week 1, not looking too good.
Yeah, so let's see. Douglas talks so much about winning culture and attitude. How can you expect players to play hard when the head coach is mailing in games? I agree.
Great comment.
phenomenal comment. He mailed it in right before the half with that field goal. At the end of the game, he always quits. The Jets aren't winning, or they're not within 10 points, 14 points, end of the game. He mails it in. He doesn't even try to score points. He doesn't care. He completely tunes out and just loses interest.
And
right?
And like you said earlier, this is what we ran Todd Bowles out of town for. It was hard to justify keeping him as your head coach when he was mailing in games and doing these things that, if you were a player in that locker room, how do you get motivated to play for that? And you see the same things from Gase.
It's time for Darnold to stop making rookie mistakes. I agree. And it's time for Adam Gase to stop making rookie mistakes, too, with game management.
Bingo.
Time management. You're a veteran coach, man. Quinn Williams can't win the one-on-one battles. That's the big concern. I'm sure somebody's going to have some all 22 tape and say, oh, he was double teamed and all this Leonard Williams shit that we heard.
That's maybe we heard about Leonard Williams for 3 years.
Right. So maybe that's going to be, the case. I really don't know, but how many drop balls, man? That Crowder was a big one. The Crowder drop was big. Especially
earlier in the game, too, an opportunity to finally get the offense in a rhythm, get your first down, and yep.
I was screaming on the first drive, please don't run it on 2nd and 10, and what did he do? Run, 3rd and long punt. That's just what's going to happen.
That was my biggest fear going into this game, is that we were going to keep that same approach and try to run the ball when we knew Buffalo would be looking for that.
So this, I know, is a troll. Adam Gase isn't to blame, guys. He's dealt a dead hand or team. Come on, man. Now you're going to say this is all the team. This is his team, his guys. This is his system. Come on, man. This is definitely a troll. There's no way this guy believes this. There's not one Adam Gase defender found in any of this world right now. They're all in hiding.
Half these guys he brought in, and the other half that aren't playing right now are guys that are injured, and you don't really give him an excuse for that with his history of injuries. So no, I'm not giving Gase excuses at all right now. And
Morgan starts week 14. God help us.
Nope.
Looks like May took over with Adams gone and 2 sacks, but where was Ashton Davis? I know he's a rookie, but I wanted to see something from him. You're not alone, man.
Yep.
I thought Davis was going to play a lot more too. I was shocked that we didn't see more of him.
Yeah, and he was getting good, reviews at training camp too. So I definitely expected him to be out there a little bit, part of some 3 safety packages. But yeah,
Sam not throwing the ball out of bounds is inexcusable.
Agreed.
Completely agree. It was and it was so funny because later in the game, Josh Allen did it. Yep. Josh Allen was in the same situation. He threw the ball away. You're like, what?
Yeah, that's not even something that you can put on Gase. I mean, that's 100% Sam Darnold needing to know. I'm 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage. There's no reason for me to take this sack, throw the ball away, and you live to see another down. He needs to know that.
If I was Darnold, I would go to Judd Douglas to either tell him I want to be traded or have a more accountable head coach that knows how to play call and play to players' strengths.
Oh, so maybe that's why Jamal Adams did that.
Yeah, I mean, Sam has got to be at some point, but there is no worse market to be in, maybe Philadelphia, to be a young quarterback with all this shit going on, because the media and the fans are going to be relentless. And they're going to be now it's this just shitstorm's just a matter of time now. Yep. They get blown out by the 49ers. This is going to be another, after watching last year all the Fire Gase nonsense. Can you imagine what Sam Darnold's thinking? What the fuck have I got myself into? Why did I have to go here? Right? He has to, secretly he thinks that. He could not be, and he watches all the other quarterbacks flourish. Him and Josh Allen are good friends. Can you imagine? He probably tells Josh Allen, I wish I was you, man, because you're winning. Everybody's happy. The team loves me. There's no, could you imagine?
Yep.
I feel bad for him. I really do. Easy to be negative, but I'm going to treat this like a first preseason game. Going to be a rough start, but we will bounce back after 2 or 3 terrible games. Given we are seeing same O-line issues again.
I mean,
so you're willing to deal with 3 bad losses and say that's our preseason? We're just going to mail 3 games in, okay, that's okay.
I think most people will probably excuse next week, as long as it isn't as bad as this week, just because the Niners are flat out a better team than us. But then after that, you get the Broncos, I think the Colts as well. Those are games that you should be competitive, if not win. So I think that's where things really start to change, hopefully. Comment
is Greg Van Roten was beat like a drum. Listen, I saw some things, but I'm going to give these guys a pass for 2 more weeks. So this offensive line has a chance, maybe 3, because the offensive line has to have a chance to gel with no preseason. They have to.
For the season, you're giving them a pass?
For the offensive line, yeah. I mean, I'm not letting like last year where it was like a jailbreak and everybody's just running through with no ounce of defense. But I'm going to give him kind of a pass. I thought McGovern had some issues too, to be honest with you. But I got to watch it again. But here's one: Sean Jefferson could be the offensive coordinator. That's fair. Didn't even think about that one. Dow Loggins is coaching Sam Darnold. I'm not surprised. I don't think Dow Loggins does shit other than hold the red flag. I don't think he does anything, dude. This is Gase's offense, Gase's scheme. I mean, this is all.
Dow Loggins is Casey Rogers 2.0, the glorified puppet who's just gonna do his job and not really have too much of a say in anything.
Is it me or wasn't Gase's offense in Miami better than it is now for the Jets? Are we just cursed? It actually was better. This is just shit right now. This is terrible.
Yep.
There's points where it's unwatchable because you know what the plays are going to be, and that's the problem.
Well, that's also the thing. He never had an opportunity to sit out a year and kind of evaluate, certain things from his first, 3 years as a head coach in Miami. So he takes over this job and he's doing a lot of the same things that he did there, except he has less talent to work with, and the results are the same.
Gase isn't getting fired. Next week we beat the 49ers and we're all good again.
I hope so.
It'd be nice. I mean, what's going to be the excuse for Quinnen this year? And this is what's going to happen, man. Like, there's going to be certain players right now where we're going to start nitpicking on things. Guys that make a lot of money that aren't producing the way we want them to be. It's going to be Henry Anderson. It's going to be Quinnen Williams, Pierre Desir. It's going to be Perryman. All these guys. They're going to get like a window of the guys that just came in this year. They're going to get like probably 4 or 5 weeks where you're like, all right, and you got to get assimilated. But after that, dude, like if you were here last year and didn't play well, and you're here this year not playing well, good luck.
Yep.
They're going to get roasted. Penalties are 100% coaching. Inexcusable how unprepared this team is. What was it, 9 penalties for 95 yards?
Yep.
Terrible.
I wouldn't say 100% coaching because,
just a lack of discipline.
Yeah, I was going to say, what coach goes out there and, coaches penalties? But, if you're not coaching it, you're allowing it to happen to a certain extent. So if you see it in practice, I get it to an extent, but I wouldn't say 100%.
I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. This team is 2 years away from being 2 years away. I remember like an analyst said that a couple weeks ago, and I feel that pain, man. Like you hate feeling like the rest of the NFL is on a different level. That's just what you hate. Like it's annoying, it's depressing, it's frustrating.
That's the biggest thing that bothered me about this offseason was that like when we entered it, it felt like we had a chance to make some moves with all the cap space we had and draft picks to, have a respectable season, like an 8-8, 9-7 year where we showed some progress. And then you trade your best player and then your second best player opts out. And it's like, what are you left with now? And yeah, it's just, it's not much.
Yeah. Oh, you also have Jim Bob Cooter too he's another guy that was another offensive coach too. I forgot about him too. These guys are good, man. These guys are on top of it.
I'm going to get on the Jim Bob Cooter train.
Yeah, I'll do anything, man, at this point. And we just refreshed here. Hey, how about the punter, man? The punter looks good. We didn't mention him that much.
Yeah, first punt was, like 58 yards?
Yeah, he had the average, 46 yards or something like that on his punts?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. The next comments. Gase teams are always unprepared. Well, actually, if we're being fair, then usually on offense, the first 15 plays, you're usually inspired, and then they fall to shit. The defense has been starting out slow, and then they kind of pick it up, which was a trend last year as well. That falls on Greg Williams. That's not an Adam Gase thing. That's his defense.
No, like I say, the offense is usually prepared for the first 15 plays, and then they just can't make the adjustments afterwards. And then the defense usually gets torched early on. They make the adjustments, but it's usually too late. So,
all right, we got a Bills fan chiming in. As a Bills fan, I think those drop passes at the beginning of the game really messed up Sam Darnold. Sure, it didn't inspire any confidence. I can tell you that much. When you're just like, he needs somebody to help him out a little bit, get him rolling, and they're dropping passes.
Yeah, early on. You're looking to get into a rhythm. You're already down by a touchdown, and that one, especially by Crowder, I thought that was a chance to really get him in a rhythm and maybe make the game somewhat competitive in the first half. And then once that happened, I felt like it was just all downhill from there. This is
the problem. This is my biggest problem out of this whole game. It's the same story from last year.
Not according to Gase. Not according to Gase. It's a
lot of the same concerning issues, a lot of the same excuses, a lot of the same lack of accountability. And you leave the game with more questions than answers. That's the biggest problem, especially on fucking offense. And that's where you want to see something. That's where you want to see like this whole it's a Sam Darnold season, man. Like you want to see, and I understand it's only week 1, so it's hard to overreact. But when they're getting their doors blown off, and your highlight is when they catch a pass, you catch a forward pass for 7 yards, you're like, holy shit, we caught a pass. Like that's where we are. Like if
it's a Sam Darnold season, then we should have treated this offseason like it was a Sam Darnold season. And not, done the bargain basement shopping and, only drafting one wide receiver. Like, these were all holes that we knew that we needed to address if we wanted him to be able to flourish. And, we kind of took some shortcuts here and there.
Yeah, but it's the same. It's the same questionable play calling, same bad game management, same bad time management. Those are all things. Like there's fault with Darnold, there's fault with the game plan, and there's fault with the management of the game. Some of those stories are exactly similar to last year, and the result where you're seeing like embarrassing efforts was also similar too. So it's accurate, man.
Yep.
The Herndon fumble killed the comeback, no doubt about that. That was a brutal fumble and not a very good game from Herndon. He didn't really do much, but he didn't play last year. So like the problem we have is we're so desperate for playmakers. We want everybody to be great right away. And our expectations are so high for Herndon where he's got to get back in like game shape, NFL shape, and figure things out and get in this offense. Like he didn't really play in it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with, the comment that the fumble kind of killed any chance of a comeback. But if you were expecting to win this game down 3 scores in the second half, like you're kidding yourself. This team is not talented enough to do that. So you legitimately needed almost every single thing to go perfect in that second half just to have a chance. And that wasn't going to happen.
Buffalo is a clear year ahead of us. Completely agree.
2 years maybe at this point.
Could be too.
I hate to say that, but yeah.
I love seeing you two together. You make losses seem like wins. Keep it. Well, thank you. There's nothing winning about this shit, man. Like I don't feel like I'm winning. Primetime had to calm me down before this show because I was ready to just destroy things. I was out of my mind. If you guys are tuning in late, watch the first like 20 minutes of this. It was not pretty, man.
This is how we get past it. We vent. We drink and we vent.
Thank God I work from home. I don't have to face my coworkers. You're very lucky, man, because I got to face them. And the worst thing is now is the mailman comes in like 1:30, 2 o'clock every day. And usually it's like, hey, how are Jets doing? I can just hear his comments. And it's just like, oh.
None of you can have it as bad as me as a teacher because I walk around with my Jets coffee cup every morning. I've got my Jets water bottle. So every kid in my school knows that I'm a Jets fan. And they point and laugh. I mean, that's what they do at this point. Like every time that I come in on a Monday, it's just, you saw the Jets yesterday? I'm like, yep, I saw it. So
if we couldn't establish a run game against the Bills, how are we going to do it against the best D line in the league next year? I mean, next week against the 49ers? Yep. Good question, man. A running game without Le'Veon Bell to boot.
Frank Gore is going to be motivated going up against his old team. That's how.
Oh, my goodness. Adam Gase is not a leader of men. He doesn't belong being a head coach. No arguments here, man.
Go back to Ed Reed. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. When Ed Reed was at training camp a year ago, he did that subliminal video where he showed the Jets, the training facility in the background. He was like, some coaches, they're in positions to be head coaches, and they didn't do anything to deserve that. And that's Adam Gase to a T. It seems like. Yeah,
and the other thing too is he doesn't hold himself accountable. Like this press conference could have been very easy. The offense wasn't good. It's on me. I have to do better. That's it. That's your answer. That is a simple answer to squash it. I take full responsibility. My problem. What does he do? Well, I called the plays. There were guys open, but the ball didn't get there. So basically, you're blaming your quarterback.
And if he took that approach, it would be so much easier to respect that. Yep. Instead of just coming on here and ripping him to shreds, like I can respect that if he acknowledged, I did not do my job and I'm going to get it corrected. But no, he points the finger every single time he can.
Yeah, it's just so ridiculous. Will injuries be excused for Gase again? I hope not. I mean, now you're down Bell. So now you have a 37-year-old running back starting. That's not ideal. Your receivers are a mess.
At what point do you look at it and you say, okay, 3 or 4 out of 5 years that he's been a head coach, his rosters have been severely decimated by injuries. At what point do you say there's a problem with the way he's either handling these injuries or conducting his training camp or something along those lines?
Yeah, the next comment, my friends are just torturing me right now. We are the worst team in the NFL. It's week 1. Hopefully we could turn things around a little bit. I haven't really had a chance to see what else is going on around the NFL. I probably don't want to, but I'm not going to go there yet. Let's see. And this is a good point too. Greg Williams had a bad first half, but he makes adjustments. He doesn't give up like Gase. Dude, I agree. I agree. I don't. What was the Adam Gase adjustment, man? Like what adjustments did they make? Because when things work, like the hurry up work for a little period there when they're trying to rush back, that worked.
Yeah. So
Sam Darnold rolling out, making him more mobile, changing things up, change the speed, do an end around, do something a little bit different than what we're used to seeing.
See, but I'm still not going to give Greg Williams a pass though, because yes, he makes adjustments, but at what point, does it not matter if you give up touchdowns on 3 of your first 4 possessions? You're putting your team in such a hole, and the opposing offense, if they know your offense can't put up points, They're just trying to control the clock and, win the game that way.
Losing sucks, but the reality is this team isn't good enough yet, and the defense needs a pass rush. So that means what? That we don't effectively we don't have a quality game plan. We don't play competitive. We don't know how to manage the clock. You don't want to see your quarterback hit wide open receivers. You don't want to see your quarterback know when to throw the ball out of bounds, not take a sack. Like, we excuse all of this. Like, there's certain things just not excusable. Like, this is a veteran coach, right? Like, there's certain things you want to see. I'm not discounting. I'm not giving a pass for some of this stuff. You can't. It's impossible.
No.
I blame O-line issues on bad blocking schemes. Well, this is the problem when you force feed a scheme to your players. That's the problem. It should be you have your players, you adjust your scheme to your players. Adam Gase doesn't do that. We saw that last year when it was like a free-for-all in the backfield, and he didn't really care. He kept calling the same shit with the same scheme. It didn't bother him. And kept the coach to boot.
And again, like for week 1, that's why it's so concerning, because you had so many weeks to prepare for this. So it's like next week against another very good defense, you only have 1 week now to prepare for this. What's going to change?
Yeah, if Jim Bob Cooter could be the OC, he was better than – yeah, I mean, listen, I got to start reading the questions again. If Jim Bob Cooter could be OC, he was better than Gase with the Lions. Listen, what we're seeing right now is not good, but this is Adam Gase's team, his system, his pride. He will never let that happen. He will never get play calling ever. He's like a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I completely agree.
What system do you think Darnold can thrive in? That's a good question.
One that doesn't just throw, bubble screens and 3-yard outs and things like that. One that actually, adjusts to what the opposing defense is doing, takes some chances, has some, imagination. One that actually allows him to, roll out and, just caters to his strengths. I mean, that's what most good offensive coaches do. You look at the way the Bills run their offense through Josh Allen. They allow him to scramble and do certain things that fit his skill set. And I don't feel like we've done that enough with Sam right now.
You think Le'Veon plays good soldier and remains positive for 16 weeks?
Good question.
It's a great question. I think, he's going to be injured, so he's going to probably mix the next couple weeks, I would think. And then I think, I think at this rate, he knows he's getting cut at the end of the season. I think he knows that. So he's been a class act. He's been a tremendous role model. He may just stay silent just so he gets a new contract somewhere else. He's not like that. Leaves on bad. It's like he looks like the class act. Like, oh, they cut me. It wasn't my fault. I think he may do that. I don't think he's going to run himself out of town. Or does he ask to be traded at the deadline?
It's possible, but I also think he might have seen, the way the Jamal Adams situation went down and just said, you know what, I'm going to, like you said, play the good soldier and, try to get my next contract and not ruffle any feathers. Because, if he does it now, that's the second time. He did it with Pittsburgh a little bit and now here. So that would be the second organization that, he kind of went out with on bad terms. So he might definitely try to look to avoid that again.
Yep. I mean, Jamal tried to warn us. I don't think we need to be warned. I think we knew, but people wanted to defend Gase and say that we are always negative. And those people are all quiet today. We can't find them anywhere. That's fine, though. If we were this bad against the Bills, just imagine what the 49ers game will look like. That's a concern. And I don't feel like dealing with it, to be honest with you. I mean, I can't even imagine. I'm not watching anything now. I haven't seen how the games are going at the 4 o'clock games, but I can only imagine.
Curious what Tom Brady's doing, actually.
In a copycat league, Gase's copier is always broken. Well played. It's a good one. Let's see. What we got here? Oh, boy. This take is terrible. I knew Darnold was hype in college and looks even worse in the pros. Put Flacco in, please. Well, first of all, Flacco's hurt, so that's impossible to do. Secondly, I mean, that's just...
I don't know what people have seen in college that would just say Darnold's all hype. Yes, he had some turnover issues, but I think it was 30 of 32 GMs all had him as the top-rated quarterback. There was nobody that was questioning him as one of the best quarterbacks coming out of the draft. So I don't know. It's
hard to call it hype when you look at what he's been surrounded by the last couple of years, man. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I agree. I mean, Gase right now is coming as advertised. When he got hired and I thrashed him. Remember, we thrashed him, dude. And people called us assholes. Oh, you guys don't know what you're talking about. We wanted Matt Rule and McCarthy and all these different guys we had. We actually had Bieniemy. We had Chris Richard mentioned. All these guys we had ahead of Gase. You guys are negative. All the fucking concerns we've identified on the hiring of this guy have happened. Including the injuries. Every fucking one of them. The accountability issues, the players, the locker room being divided, the mouthy players, the arrogant players getting shipped out of town. if there's a checklist, dude, and there was 10 things on it, 9 of them have been checked already, right?
Well,
every concern about Gase that before he came here has been as advertised.
Well, naturally,
prick to the media.
Naturally, you just start to buy in because you really don't have a choice. We say that all the time.
We have to.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have a choice. He's the head coach. We knew he was going to be the head coach for at least 2 years. So you can either complain about it every single Tuesday night, or you can hope for the best. And unfortunately, the results just haven't been there.
Yeah, so we got another couple minutes. We'll just do make these 2 hours. Can probably bore you guys, repeating ourselves a lot.
Starting to slur. I've drank too much.
Let's see. People truly underestimate the importance of sports psychology. When your D gets a turnover and your O goes 3 and out every time, it demoralizes the defense. Defense play dude, we as Jet fans, we know this. Yep. We've seen the Rex Ryan days. The defense do a lot of things, and the offense started to sputter. We saw it last year. Greg Williams' defense will start out slow. Then they come back with fire and brimstone, get the team in the game, and the offense will go 3 and out. Run, third and long pass. They wouldn't do shit. And the life would get sucked out of the team. And that's football's an emotional sport, man. That Chris Herndon fumble sucked the life out of him again. You're Jesus Christ. Then you're on the field for 40 minutes. You can't be as a defense. You can only keep that passionate energy up for so long before you get tired. You need to have that 5 or 6 minutes off. You can't get off the field in 2 minutes. Back on the field again. It never works, dude. Never.
Yes, that's one of the biggest problems we've had over the last number of years is that we never seem to have all 3 phases working correctly at the same time.
Gase just tweeted that Tyson and Kevin's negativity is the reason we lost today.
Wouldn't shock me.
We get blamed for everything else at this point. There's fans blaming us for being negative. Jesus Christ. Let's see. We'll go through a couple more here. Oh my goodness. Stop drafting quarterbacks from warm weather colleges.
I don't know about that.
It really matters.
It's not like today.
Let's see. Fun drinking game. Take a shot every time someone in chat. Take a shot every time someone in the chat mentions the draft. We'd be blind by now. There's a lot of them. I'm trying to weed through some of these. Sam is looking like he's playing to prove Adam Gase is a good coach, but it's not working for him still. That's the one problem with a young quarterback, dude. He's ridiculously loyal because he doesn't know any better, and he's trying so hard to be good for his coach and for his team, and he's pressing. But it's.
And that's also what bothers me. Towards the end of last year, it seemed like there was that moment where Sam went into Gase's office, said, "Hey, this isn't working. This is what I want to do more of." And it seemed like Gase started to implement some of that stuff. And now here we are back to all this shit.
Yeah, apparently Tom Brady's getting the shit beat out of him, and they're getting beat up. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, Saints are up 24-17, but I think they just scored a touchdown. There's a flag, so what's going on?
And we'll do one more here. No Jet fan should be surprised how bad the Jets are. This is truly a rebuild. We all need to accept the lack of talent on the field. Now, I understand the lack of talent and some depth concerns and some deficiencies. It doesn't excuse bad play calling and fundamental problems, technical problems. All this other shit's not acceptable. It's just not, dude. You can't excuse every problem and say, okay, you know what? They're rebuilding. You want to see your coach be a leader. You want to see him well prepared. You want to see max effort, take care of mismatches. How is Herndon not used more? The way he used Bell before he got hurt. All these different things, man. And now it's now the injury to Bell is dude, I go outside and Blah Powell. You got to bring in more guys now.
Yep. Well, it's also after week 1, so a lot of those veterans, their contract would be guaranteed. So I think that might be what they're waiting for. But still, you need help right now.
Now they're saying hindsight 2020, Jets should have claimed Fournette. I don't know what he's done today, so I don't know if that means anything. I don't think he was a fit here where a guy that wanted to make some money and win. That's
Yeah.
Let's see what's everybody's calling us. We're getting called negative now. Do you really think Sam looks like he has the it factor?
Can't say yet. I'd like to see him with a competent head coach and a nice supporting cast and see, just if they could actually build his confidence up and get to that point. I think there will be one day where he could put a team on his back, but right now he hasn't been in position to do that at all. And expecting that out of a 23-year-old quarterback, I think is asking a lot.
You want to see his it factor? Put Sam in Buffalo right now. Put Sam in Buffalo right now and say, okay, you have Diggs, Beasley, Brown, Singletary, all these guys. Let him flourish and see what he does. I bet he has an it factor there because he's a lot more around him. Josh Allen has the it factor. Right now, you watch the game today. If you're an outsider, never watched football before, you'd be like, this Josh Allen kid's really good. This Sam Darnold kid sucks.
Yep.
That's what you would say, right? That would be your honest assessment. If you didn't know like all the things we know, that's exactly what you would say. So the it factor, we don't know. This kid's being humbled. He's being just beat up. He's regressing in certain areas. It's a mess. And that's, I mean, they're saying get Devontae Freeman. I would too. I'd sign him. I don't care. You know, I guess P. Ryan would be back. What? Do we even know?
I think
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
Week 3 or week 4, as long as it's not, long term. I know it's an ankle sprain, but I think it's a lower ankle sprain. So, I mean, that's usually positive.
And then this will be the last one. I said it last time, I think. We got so many comments. So they just light up so fast. I agree there's not a lot of talent, but Gase was saying before the season they loved all the moves that they made. And exactly. This is it. When you ignore certain things, you let Robbie Anderson go, or you don't bring in certain people, or you revamp your offensive line with certain players, you do all these things, you bring in a Frank Gore as your primary guy behind Perrin. All these are your guys. Like last year wasn't his guys in theory. These were McCagnon guys. Now this year is your guys. The same time management shit doesn't really matter, but dude, his excuses are dwindling. The only thing he has to hang his hat on is the fucking injuries.
And even that shouldn't be an excuse. You have the offensive line. I get it. It's 4 or 5 new starters, and like we keep saying, it's probably going to take a little bit of time before we see that unit get to where it should be. But you invested all these resources into the offense, so the receivers are still a little bit diminished, but you have enough there. Especially if Bell comes back, like he should have been your workhorse. I don't know what the fuck was going on with that today, but you have enough to work with where the injuries or whatever else should be an excuse. I don't think.
Yeah, and I understand there's a couple comments too where you say great players make players around them better. Okay, but
great coaches do that too.
Great coaches do that too. Schemes do that. Protection in the pocket, like a young Sam is so young. You got to give him some guidance and get him comfortable. Let him just get in rhythm and just feel, because he's showing signs. Like you saw signs last year. You saw signs in his rookie year. Like you saw a glimpse. Like, all right, this kid could play. He got the big arm. He had those exciting comebacks. He had the shootout. Like he had big games. So he's capable of doing great things. But you got to get him in that situation to do that, and they're not doing it, man. Like it's this questioning of Darnold is gonna be painful, man. Like it's all too predictable. It really isn't. It's a shame.
Yep.
So prime time. Are we doing one tomorrow night? What are we doing?
I'm available if people want to tune in. Yeah,
we could do one tomorrow night, 8:00. We can react to all the injury report and everything else coming out. We thank everybody for joining us. We just started doing this, and we'll see what happens, man. Never a dull moment. We appreciate it. At Talk Jets Radio, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe if you're not already. We appreciate it. Prime time. What a day, man. See you guys later.
Days ahead. Talk to you later.